What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to probably my favorite show of the entire week, and yours too, I bet, the True Earth debate. My goodness, so exciting. Especially now that we have got the original idea in full swing, bringing the live audience and antics, if you will, of TikTok and to merging them over to YouTube and Rockfin, to you lovely people, because you do deserve the best content. So we will go ahead and, as usual, dive right in. It's just going to take me maybe a moment or two to go ahead and get the TikTok loaded up. Again, I just do it this way. That way, when I start the live, it doesn't suffer over there, because once the audience tanks over there, then I can't get the Globies in. And we know that that's who you really want to see. The Globies, the contenders, the arguments at work. So let's go ahead and just do a quick shout out to those of you who are pouring in, starting to join us. We do appreciate you, as always. Of course, the Rockfin chat, John Osborne. Do apologize about the mix-up earlier. Oh, well, no worries. We'll go ahead and get that worked out. Was supposed to moderate a debate, but dropped the ball, not realizing Central Time was only an hour behind me. So whoopsie daisies, picked a whole bouquet of them. And of course, much love to Nuba. Right on back at you, brother. So let's go ahead and hop over to the YouTube. And folks, by the way, on both platforms, if you would, while you have a chance, go ahead and smash the like button, share it out to all your group chats and things, Facebook, whatever, so we can get the word out and get a good audience. Of course, Jeremy Bird, what is up, my friend? First. You are first. Nuba over on both platforms as usual, and you could be too. Make sure you go check them both out. There's a link in the description if you're on YouTube for Rockfin. Mark Gregory, welcome to the show, my friend. Kevin, Cave-In, Dashill, what up? Dr. Bass, Ackwards, Game Over Globe. I love it. Omega Genesis, sup, y'all. Guys, we got to get, by the way, I want to get the custom emojis and things for you all who would love to have them. So we got to get my subscribers up to 1,000 so that they'll let me unlock the memberships. So go ahead and share it out and subscribe if you like this kind of content. Omega Genesis, what is up? Michael, good evening indeed. All right. Do the Globies really believe in the globe? I do believe that some of them do, Dr. Bass Ackwards. I'll say it again. Probably say it every time. I love that name. Just rolls right off the tongue. So, all right, we are looking pretty good here. Let me get on over. Of course, I say that as soon as I say that. Okay, so no, never mind. No bad juju here. We are manifesting a fantastic show. We got the sage burning in the corner to cleanse out all the negativity from what happens when we come into contact with these clovers. So, if those who are wondering, because it's like, man, it does seem to be pretty low vibrational at times, and I totally get that. Those times that seem especially challenging, I do find it beneficial to relax and unwind with some sage, and no, that's not a shameless plug. That's just a fact. I don't sell any sage or anything like that, and I actually don't believe it's something that you should buy like that. I think sage is something that you should really just trade for, things of real value, not worthless paper money. But hey, if that's your only way of getting it, then some is better than none, of course. So let's go ahead and start this live up over here. I'm going to unplug from here, lose my audio for you guys, so I won't know how it sounds. So in the chat, just let me know once I get everything going. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in over here, start the live, and then pull it up on here for you all. Again, thanks for tuning in. Oh, wait, I do have to shout out, of course, before we do move on, huge shout out to Jeremy Bird for the generous donation before the show that was supposed to start yesterday. Again, huge apologies, but I had another scheduling issue. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and get right on into it. I will see you on the other side here in just a moment. Of course, I say that, but you can still hear me just fine. I just can't hear any monitoring or anything like that, so it is a little off-putting. But that is fine, just fine. Let's go live. Don't lose my background. Of course, it always does every time. Let's go ahead and interact. No. Enhance. Whoopsie daisy. Effects. Always does this. All right. Boom. We are back. All right. And then over to here. Let's find it. Keep hearing clicking over on my microphone. It sounds absolutely horrible. Oh, you know what? That will help. All right, folks, if you are joining me over here on the TikTok side, welcome to the show. We are getting things started here in just a moment. Just got to get this screen up for my audience over here on Rockfin and YouTube. If you guys are interested in catching the full shows and previous shows, check out TroublingTribune.com, link in the bio, and you can find all that stuff. So let's go ahead and get on into this. All right. Good there. Just some minor adjustments here. And then we will be good to go, folks. Feel free to smash the screen. Let's get the likes up. Let's get some people in here. And let's get the conversation going. We are doing the True Earth debate. Flat, globe, concave. Let's get the conversation going. Cooking with some oil. Should be a lot of fun. All right. Let's go ahead and get this switched on over.
Should be a lot of fun. All right. Let's go ahead and get this switched on over. And now we should have no echo. Folks on my YouTube Rockfin chat, if you could let me know how the audio is over there, I would really appreciate it. Now we got everything going through one line. So seems like it's clipping just a little bit. Let me tune this down. There we go. That should be better. Oblate spheroid, nice. Satanist sailor. Big shock, right? That's okay. We love you. One world, right? One love. We don't hate. We do not discriminate. Let your ideas be known. This is the True Earth debate. So if you have any facts, evidence, great ideas that you'd like to share, then feel free to come on in and let us hear it. To the show, brother.
How you been?
Hey, it's going fantastic, man. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Yeah, thanks. How's it been going?
Yeah, man, it's been going really, really well. We've been busy getting everything together, crunching some things for the new show. I've finally gotten everything able to where I can stream on all my platforms, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool. So you're able to do like Twitch and all that all at the same time?
Yep, right now I'm just doing YouTube and Rockfin and TikTok, of course. So
does that mean that you could... So do you have a stream key for this that you could do Streamlabs on it?
Oh, I wish. I'm a little bit more creative than that.
That'd be so cool.
I'm actually logged into a different TikTok, and then I log into that TikTok through OBS, and I screen capture it, and then I pull up my live, and then I just pull everything over.
Yeah, but dude, I wish it would be a game changer if they gave one of us a stream key. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh.
Well, they have the ability, but you have to have a... Hey, what up, Caleb? Feel free to jump on in, my friend, if you can. I don't know if you're still banned or not. But, yeah, you can get a stream key if you have TikTok Studio, and I don't think there's a limitation on that. But you just can't use it with Mac. So I'm using a Mac, so I can't use it.
So do I. So, yeah.
Well, what are you going to do?
Yep.
Jay was just in a live where they were hanging up on a teacher and screaming that she was a bitch.
I was not. There was a bunch of other people. I was not. So
that's so funny.
That's funny. Yeah.
I know, right?
Snafu was, all right, if you want to know. And Snafu has a very rash personality, so it's just how it goes.
Snafu is pretty wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, for those who don't know, I believe you are
so see how misleading that was? Now you say I was not participating. Like, that was very misleading.
He was in the... Well, I mean, yeah, it was misleading, but he did technically not say you were doing the screaming, right? You could pick it.
Yeah, that's true.
You could, draw straws, but it's just really weird what people would even throw it out then, right? Why even talk about it? But hey, as far as like character attacks, it actually breaks the rules of the True Earth debate. For those who are not familiar, we do have rules. And so let me go ahead and bring those up. And then hopefully we can get some Globies in here and some concavers or whoever
I love that
else.
you do that, though, bro. That's how I try to do it on my live instead of having to constantly block people. You know what I mean?
I don't block anybody unless you're character attacking, repeatedly spamming in the lives, just being an overall prick. But pardon my language. But yeah, here is the behavior code, guys. If you stick to the behavior code, then we'll have absolutely no issues. I will never ban you. None of my mods will ever ban you, and you get to keep on saying whatever it is you think, regardless of how stupid we all think that it is. Nice. KC Industry, welcome to the show.
What's up, KC?
What up, boys? What's going on?
Oh, dude, it's been a fun one today. But
What you been doing?
it's been
Jay?
very interesting.
What you been doing?
Oh, nothing. We were just calling out the concaver stuff, and it was just kind of fun, you know.
Apparently he was
It's so
idly
stupid, bro. Water doesn't bend up or down. It's that simple. Like, these people think water is bending upwards to create a concave Earth. Like, have these people lost their mind? Ooh, nice shirt, bro. I'm supposed to be getting a shirt from Melodome here soon.
Let me just tell you, for those who are unaware of the Melodome situation, this by far has been probably the best purchase of a shirt I've ever made, and I don't say that to exaggerate. It is a very, very good material. It's really comfortable, and I'm always upset when it's not
Dude,
clean.
you know
so.
when now you need one of these babies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Now you need
It's
one
got
of these
that good
hats to
shirt
go with
vibe,
your shirt.
yeah.
And it'll be legendary.
Oh yeah, it's definitely in the works.
You're getting a NASA going effing nowhere hat.
Oh yeah, and I get to wear things like that because
I've
my
been
mom
working
worked
on
at
some
NASA.
stuff,
So
bro, yeah.
what are you gonna do? Like, I have insider information.
There you go. Where are the Globies at, though?
They'll come. I'll just give them just a second.
Hopefully we get a better Glober than the last time that I was on. That was
The guy who came on after was actually pretty respectful. So and I did appreciate.
I don't know if you saw.
How are you guys doing tonight?
And we got onto the same page.
I need like
Riz
20
isn't a
seconds. I'll
Glober.
be right back. Don't kick me, please.
No worries, you're good. Angela, Angela Maggard, welcome to the show. Thanks for being patient.
You're like the only person on this app that's ever said my name correctly. Ever.
Nice. I'll
So
take it,
thanks for
badge
that.
honor.
So hopefully I'm in the right spot, but I believe in parallel Earth. I usually go in here and piss off a lot of people. I don't know what your guys' stance is on that, but hopefully we can have a conversation about it without, attacking me. That'd be nice. I get that often.
Well, this is actually something new to me anyway. I haven't heard Parallel Earth yet.
Okay, so I'm going to skip all the craziness, but you can look into my page and see who my family is and what I'm exposing. But I was kidnapped and sold as a baby into this family. So my main objective on this app is to bring awareness to them and what they did. While I was looking for that, though, I found some documents about this, as well as photos, and there was a diary. And I've posted them all on here. But there's no way on Earth that I could possibly think that we live on a sphere. Not if you look into history. I mean, and there's so many different civilizations that speak on the same thing that never spoke to each other. They had no form of communication. And for them to all pinpoint and say the same thing, it just makes you scratch your head. Like, there has to be more to it. It can't just be as black and white as people say it is.
So as far as like without getting into like too much details or craziness of it, as far as like the main difference between because you obviously said we can't be living on a sphere, so that takes that out. What shape would you think the Earth is? And if it is like a flat one, then what would be the difference between that and all the other flat earthers?
So I call it parallel, just because I don't believe it's exactly flat. From the maps and stuff that I have seen, there's rings, and there's more land, and there's more oceans. There's 3 rings to be exact, and beyond each one is more continents and more oceans.
So if it's not flat,
But it's not flat.
Curvature, does the terra firma bend up or down?
I don't want to act like I know what you're saying, but from what it's not flat. So you have to go both up and down to get there. Down first.
So it sounds like you're a flat earther to me.
Yes, I mean I call it parallel, but yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, well, parallel would be flat, essentially.
I mean, if you're trying to skip the judgment, I get it. You know? You know what
No,
I mean?
I'm okay with judgment. I got thick skin, y'all. You can say exactly how you feel. I'm not gonna
So,
take offense.
when you
We're having a
say,
discussion.
let me get some clarity though. When you say like you can go up and down, do you mean kind of like how it's depicted for Odinus, how there's multiple layers, and we're like in the middle layer, or is it something
We are in the
like?
center. We are directly in the center, so it's not like you can just walk to the next. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to maneuver over and under. Like I've never gone, so I don't know. This is off of stuff that I've read. Admiral Byrd, like he's posted a bunch of stuff. He's even posted photos. If you go to CIA.gov and you scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, you click the Freedom of Information Act, a search bar pops up. You can type in anything, all the keywords you want, and that's all the declassified documents. That's where I get the majority of my information. But they've discussed this. The problem I found, though, is a lot of their stuff has been redacted. So what I do is I usually cross Google image search the documents. I screenshot them and save them. And then I go on Google because I'll say like 5 out of 10 times people have already posted the non-redacted version. So you can kind of get a bigger picture.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit to dig through, but essentially it does sound like you're a flat earther, but just like the realm that we are in is flat, but you can go up, or you could go like down into it, kind of like hollow earthers say. And I actually don't have any issues with that. I tend to think that the whole hollow earth idea makes immensely more sense on a flat earth, and that there's layers to it, and that it's cavernous, so you can find different caverns beneath it. And then you can theorize from there that there could be a whole world or a whole nother layer, just like a density tower, but bigger.
One of the main reasons I believe this is because of my grandmother and what she was involved in. I'm going to get a lot of hate from your commenter, and that's fine. But my grandmother's Ann Jutman. She's a psychic for the CIA. If you Google her name, you'll see she was a part of Stargate, Grill Flame, Starflame, and she now works for a corporation called PSI Tech. My grandfather, which was her husband, was a part of Operation Jedi Warrior, which was a psychic super soldier program at Fort Bragg in the 70s. If you look at my first pinned post, that's all the non-disclosure agreements for Project Stargate. The second post is about my father, who was a Green Beret, who was one of the men to save Jessica Lynch in 03. And then the third pinned post is about my grandma. Yeah, I get it. You don't care. But I was kidnapped and sold as a baby into this family. So you could stop going from live to live that I go in,
Don't worry about all that.
Disrespectful.
Don't worry about all that.
Because my mom did die on my birthday.
Everybody always has haters. It's just how everything goes, and it doesn't matter what side you're on or what you believe in. So, if what you're saying is accurate and you truly believe it, then you really don't have to worry about that.
I post the documents. I have the receipts.
I can concur to her. I've seen that. I think it's called the Norb theory.
Yes.
Is one of them where it's like, so we'd be the center. And then there's outside the ice wall would be like another ring. Then there'd be another ice wall followed by another ring of like water with land and continents in it. The plan is when we see them wandering, I guess it's like say the outer ring would have one of the I think it was Venus and Mars is like a sun and moon. Saturn and Jupiter is like a sun and moon in the outer ring. So like, and then I think. How did it work?
I'm gonna join in on my other.
And then there's one more in the center
followers to try to get some Globers in here.
Nice, yeah, let's do so. I appreciate
I
it.
have some Globers if you want me to invite them. We get along really great. We just have different viewpoints. If you want to get the conversation a little bit more diverse, I can.
Absolutely, it is the true Earth debate, and as much as I love discussing these types of topics too, I actually would probably, Angela, if you're open to it, reach out to me on here, and then let's set up something for maybe a more long form style of content. That way my audience can get more of what it exactly is that you have to present, because it sounds really interesting.
Together.
I know that some people in my comments are like, you have to be careful with declassified information, and I totally understand that.
That's true.
But I'm not telling anybody how they have to take the information. It's just something that it sounds interesting, and I'd like to pick it apart and like to present it. And I say pick it apart, but that's actually the wrong terminology.
You will absolutely love my TikTok page. You should go look at it because that's all I post. That's
awesome.
That's all I post.
We do have.
Yeah, I followed you there, Angela. I checked.
Thank you.
Stuff out.
I'll definitely give you a follow.
I'm trying to take down Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. That's my main objective for being on this app. Is I'm gonna take them down. for war crimes
Everybody
on
that
U.S.
is
soil.
in this live in the comment section, you need to start hitting the like button, or I will
I got
come to
you.
your. I'm just kidding.
Oh
Hit the
my
like
God.
button so we can find some
He's like, I will find
heterosexuals.
you.
We're trying to get some globe Earth versus
trying to
True
make it
Earth
an
debates
argument.
going
Yeah.
here, people.
I got you.
Hold
Let
on.
me invite some people. I know some.
Big,
some
just so you
Send
know, I
out
got
the
one.
live. I'm
We-
sending out the
Open up
live
a
to a bunch of
space here.
videosexuals right now. Where's Blitz?
Blitz would be great to have on.
Where's
But we do
McFlynn?
have Big Daddy Russ in the box if we can chat with him.
Oh gosh,
I'll
bring
jump
him in.
out. I
Russ,
just wanted to jump in
Hey, True.
and sort of
There's
This
rules
is
back
here.
up
going to turn
Angela on
into
that
a
theory. I have a
whole
couple
deal
videos
right
I'll
now,
send
but
you.
you're the host, so you got to control him. You know what I'm saying?
That's okay. I got the mute button and I got the kick button, so
Okay.
we got the rules behind me. It should be pretty easy to have a respectful conversation. And let's have some great points firing back and forth. So, Ghost of Modern Warfare, you said you'd jump out, or was that Brisk, baby?
I'll
Yeah,
go.
so I
since
was
I'm
just
the
going to
platter.
jump in to back up Angela on what she was saying there. I can send you a couple links myself. I have
Please.
some videos on that myself. So
just gonna
And I
I'll
can
jump
drop
out and
down
hang
so that
out
way
in
you
the
can have some
comments there.
Glovers come up if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can wait until we have some in the box, but I definitely appreciate being willing to do so. That way we can get this conversation going. It's obviously what my main audience has come to see. Big Daddy Russ, thank you so much for being kind enough to jump on the show.
Oh yeah, no worries.
What's up, Russ?
Living the dream.
Best proof we're on a spinning water ball rocketing through space.
You got it. Go.
Easy. The sun sets.
Yeah, I
Really?
just debunked the. Oh well, I got you blocked. So
That's
of course you
weird.
would have seen my sunset video. But do you know how perspective?
how does that
do you know what
happen,
point
Russ?
perspective is?
Do I know what, Caleb? I
What?
couldn't hear what you were saying.
Do you know what point perspective is?
Sure.
So the sky ramps down, the ground ramps up, creating a vanishing point. As the sun gets further away from a terrestrial view from the ground, it will vanish past the converging point.
Okay. So how does
Drawing.
if I'm
Like, the first
if
thing
I'm
they see.
standing here and above me at here is the sun, which is obviously above my head. Right? If I stay here and the sun goes over there at the horizon, is it below my head or above my head?
It's above your head. It just lowers due to perspective.
Okay, like the hallway theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever taken the hallway theory photo that Max likes to use and turn it on its side?
What would that do?
It actually makes the walls look like the hull of a boat.
Russ,
Why
this is
did you-
literally what they teach you in drawing. So, like, this is not a good argument to this. Like,
Hold on.
Well,
Well,
it's actually a better there's a better point to that. If I am standing in that hallway and I hold a level up and look down it like a broom
you can
handle,
manipulate it however you want, but it's just it's showing you perspective. That's all it's doing.
No. We understand the perspective and the vanishing point and the point of convergence.
Okay, well then what's the argument?
The argument is if I prop up a level, Jay, and I look down it like a rifle, the ceiling of the hallway is never going to be below the surface of the level that I'm looking down.
Wait, what? Yeah, it depends on the distance.
No, it won't, because
Well,
Yes,
level
it
is level.
will. Yeah, it depends on
Yeah,
the distance.
If you take two pencil lines on a piece of paper that are parallel and you draw them all the way to the end of the page, they are still always going to
What's
be
that a
parallel.
perspective
They're
of?
never-
Perspective
they're
of? It's
never-
hold on. Let
perspective.
him get his point out.
They're
Please.
never going to converge, and if I stand the
Apologize.
piece of paper up and I look down it like a rifle, they're also never going to converge.
So hold on. Would you agree that if we were to, let's go into a hypothetical situation where we are on a level plane and this hallway is infinitely long, would you agree that at some point that the ceiling would converge with the ground and you wouldn't be able to see any further?
No.
If it were infinitely long.
Infinitely long, the hallway only needs to be about 60 yards long, and it looks like it comes together at a point. Infinitely long, is it
Yeah.
going to make it worse or better for the perspective?
It's going to explain how the sun would set.
Okay, but again, the same thing. The light fixtures in the ceiling of the hallway are never going to appear to be below the surface of the level if the level is propped up perpendicular to gravity.
If it were long enough, it would.
No, it wouldn't. How
Why?
could it?
Okay,
could
so
it
what about the lights that
mathematically-
you're not seeing? They've already entered that path that you say they can't go onto.
You haven't even
So
considered.
you're saying you're seeing the whole hallway in that situation is what you're saying.
If I pick up an optic and I look down there, I could zoom into the end of the hallway.
Well, of
correct?
course, because then that would do what? It would unhinder your perspective, right?
Right.
So this
it
is
would-
just
it
a
would-
perspective issue that you're trying to dance
It
around.
would alter my perspective, but if I also used an optic that was level with gravity, and I
Okay,
look
well, we
down
can do
it,
that same thing on the
and-
beach with the sun, and then what
and
does
that-
it do?
and that optic is exactly 5 feet off of the floor, I'm going to see something at the end of that hallway exactly 5 feet off the floor, like a nickel or a quarter.
Well, if you understand point perspective, that's the point in increasing the length of the hallway. If it were infinitely long, there would be some point that the lights in the ceiling would converge with the floor and you wouldn't be able to see them anymore. Yes or no?
With the naked eye, it would appear to be that way.
Exactly.
So then when you zoomed in, you would see more the same thing that the same thing
proven.
that we were showing you experiments on the beach.
Again, if I picked up a pair of binoculars and I looked down that hallway, what would happen?
If it were infinitely
gosh,
long, you would
yes.
not see every single light in the hallway.
Would the lights still be
It would
above the
converge
optics?
to a different point. That's all it would do.
The vanishing point would then be extended to a different location. It's an apparent location, not
Okay,
a physical location
great.
if it's on a level plane.
Great. So you agree that the lights aren't actually below the level? They just appear to be.
Obviously not.
Okay. So how in the fuck does the sun set and go below the surface of a 6-foot level on the beach?
Because it can go
You
a
can
lot
say that without
further than the
asking.
perspective that you can see in a hallway.
Well, we're not in a hallway. We're
The Earth
looking,
is
we're
really
looking-
big.
We're looking across the surface of the ocean, and the sun is disappearing under it.
So
not-
it's literally just a perspective.
It's not
issue.
disappearing under it. The ground is ramping up, the sky is ramping down, creating a vanishing point. It is going past the vanishing point.
Okay, so the stars that are in the sky on the horizon, are they further away than the sun is?
I don't know the distances to the stars and sun. I cannot prove them. I don't think anybody can.
Yeah, there's an assumed value.
Basic.
I'm not going to
basic-
make any positive claims of the distance of the sun or the stars.
Basic angles and shadow dimensions prove the distance of the sun. That's
No.
dumb.
Well, that's not what they say, but
That's
Yeah,
that's not
it's-
accurate.
Yeah, that's wrong, bro.
How is it not accurate? Explain that.
You think that they figure the distance to the stars and the sun with shadows and sticks?
Why can't you? We did it live.
Oh gosh, Russ. You know that's not the mainstream answer, right?
I mean, I know it doesn't want to be the Main Street answer in Flurf Pizza Land in flat topographical.
that's not what we're
plains.
saying. That's not what we're saying.
Okay,
We're not
well,
saying
even
our
in-
mainstream or anything like
Even in
that.
Theoretical fake
Oh,
spinning
wow.
water ball land, it's not the answer, Russ.
Well, I
That's
mean,
how you're supposed to
can't-
figure out the radius and the circumference of your fake model, not the distance to the sun. Are you lost?
Yeah. Do you understand how basic angles
Slam.
work, Casey?
You're
You understand now, Russ, that you can just
do you-
even-
No, I'd love to have him explain it. Russ, please
Yeah,
explain how
yeah.
the angles
How do you-
prove the distance.
How'd you get
Okay.
93 million miles out of looking at a shadow? Please.
Okay. Do you understand that the general consensus is that light comes to the Earth parallel?
Correct.
Okay. So if like the Eratosthenes experiment where he measured 7 degrees.
due to corpuscular rays.
Hey, Josh, you don't have to just say something. I know you have a word limit, but
What do you mean, man?
okay. So
So my name is Josh and not Jay. Okay,
You're
Is that
both
what you
breaking the rules.
You just
we
want to
we
want to
get
do
it.
this whole like weird doxing thing?
We
Oh
get it.
Lord.
We get it. Okay. So
Like what?
when you
is
take
with
the
that?
when you take the 7-degree angle and you transpose it in front of it, and then you do a 90-degree over any distance away from the observer and the control, meaning the post that Eratosthenes used, and then you drive another stake in the ground, and the 7-degree angle transposes a parallel distance with no zenith angle discrepancies. Do you know what that means? It means the observation is accurate
So
and the
that
math
didn't
is right.
that didn't answer the question.
Because
How did you get a
Caleb, you do
93?
know that a
Hold
90
on.
a
We
45
let you
degree
talk.
angle, a 45 degree angle, and you replicate it parallel to it, and that angle is 45, you just created a 90 and two parallel lines. You do understand that, right?
So how did you get the 93 million distance to the sun from that?
Okay. Do you know how far away Australia is from Dayton, Ohio?
What does that have to do with figuring out the distance to the sun?
It's parallax, and I know math is lost on you.
Why do you have to ad hom, bro?
I mean, I'm just
That's
saying.
against
you
the
don't-
rules of the chat. You realize that, right?
There's really no
Like we're trying to
rules
have a nice
get in-
I
conversation
could
here,
just
even
as
though it
easily say
sounds like
you
we're just
suck at math
naming.
as well, bro, but I'm not. You're just going there for no reason.
I'm exceptionally good at math. I mean,
I
did
doubt
this.
it. Anyway,
I
how did
did
you get
this.
93 million miles to the sun from looking at a shadow, Russ? Please elaborate.
Okay, so here's the thing, Casey. This is math, all right? So pay attention. Okay.
Just explain. Don't be weird.
Russ,
If-
stop belittling and doing all this weird stuff to win the
Stop ad
argument.
homing,
Oh,
bro.
no,
You're
no,
gonna
no,
get
no.
kicked
No, no,
really
no.
fast.
Is that? I mean, you did that a year and a half ago, Caleb. So what's
Dude,
the
we're
difference?
on someone else's
Dude,
live, right?
hold on. We
Hey.
just want to hear you explain how you looked at a shadow and got the distance to the sun being 93 million miles. Go.
Cool.
Do
If
it.
the light. What, I'm sorry. Did you have something else you wanted to fucking add?
Is this about winning? Because you win, Russ. Like, fuck, man.
I hear a lot
No,
of
it doesn't.
egos talking.
No. What I'm saying is, if somebody in Australia is measuring a
Trying to
shadow
explain it to you.
and Josh, shut the fuck up.
That's a little
Alright.
degrading.
Like, literally,
man.
mute yourself. It's
I'm not,
simple.
dude, I'm not just gonna mute because you're being an asshole. Okay.
Well, you're the one being the asshole.
I'll stop interrupting. I apologize, but like,
Okay.
I'm gonna leave, but you're
So
supposed to
you
have more
can-
dick in your pants than your personality. I'd work on that.
You could shut the fuck up. That would work too.
Well said, Angela.
So here's the thing. If you take an observation of just shadows and you model that two-dimensionally on a piece of paper, would there or would not there be a converging point?
Of the shadows?
The angles of the shadows, Caleb. Are you
You
with me?
think that the
does
angles
that
of the
mean?
shadows will converge with the horizon, Russ?
That's not what I asked, Caleb.
Ask again, because your question's not very clear.
Okay, so if the light comes to the Earth and it casts two shadows in two different locations, and I'm using the example of Australia and Dayton, Ohio, okay? Victor Harbor, Australia, and Dayton, Ohio, 10,095 miles apart, and you were to take those angles and draw them out two-dimensionally, at what point would they come together?
The shadows, you're expecting the shadows to come together from the northern hemiplane to the southern hemiplane?
Yeah, did you go to something different, or were you still talking about that little shadow?
Yeah, what are you talking about? How does this prove that shadows can prove the distance to the sun? Please elaborate on that specifically without asking a question. Just explain it.
Okay, so if we know the distance of the flat of a triangle, okay, the bottom of the pyramid, so to speak. If
How do
we
you
know,
have that on a globe?
if
How do you
we,
How do you have a flat on a globe?
do you want to hear this or do you want to ask stupid ass questions?
So when you have like
That's
a
a
curved
very
value
relevant
in that
question.
diagram theorem,
Okay, yeah. So,
You'd have to be taking
Again.
in arc lengths, not a level plane, Russ.
oh my God. So, yeah, milliradians,
Mm-hmm.
arc seconds, Yeah, that's
Arc
called
length.
latitude.
So can you use
called
arc
latitude and
length to
longitude.
triangulate to the sun or no?
Yeah. Do you know how latitude and longitude work?
What are you going on about, bro? You are gish galloping all over the town.
Caleb, you're asking the idiotic questions, which is gish galloping. Do you understand
I think
how?
this is like someone
Hold on, we gotta walk him through this. Obviously,
Do you
we need to walk him through
understand,
this.
Caleb? Do you
Hey,
understand that
mute him for a
our
second or something. He's not gonna let me talk.
Do you understand
Look
that?
at this dude.
Do you understand that our navigation system at latitude and longitude is literally just angles?
Okay. I'm muting you for
so-
just a second because we want to get back on the point because you're kind of going off to like the longitude and longitude, and again, we're just trying to go based off how you determine the sun distance off of the shadows. Casey, you had something to add?
So he's saying that we can use triangulation to figure out the distance of the sun, which is assuming that we're on a plane. You would have to use a curved surface that is supposed to be your model, which is a ball. So you cannot use triangulation to figure out the distance of the sun over the distance of thousands of miles between Australia and a northern hemisphere continent. That is pure insanity.
Why is it pure insanity when it is basic mathematics that you clearly don't
Did you
understand?
listen to anything I just said? You would have to use arc lengths. You can't use a triangle. A triangle does not have a curved bottom.
Hey, Caleb, what is an arc length?
Arc length is it's basically to figure out the radius or the circumference of a circle.
Okay, do they do that from the outside or the inside of a circle?
You tell me. Let's hear how smart you are.
They did it from the inside of the circle.
Assuming the radius, exactly. You'd have to assume the center of the Earth as well.
Hold on.
You gotta let him finish his point.
You do understand that when Eratosthenes created latitude and longitude in the grid pattern, he did it from the center of the Earth. You do understand that, right?
He did it from the center of the Earth?
Yes.
So he figured out how deep the core is?
Or do you not understand that Eratosthenes literally calculated in a very small margin the radius of the planet?
That's a sharpshooter fallacy.
No, it's not.
As well,
It's
hold on.
documented history. And
You can't even prove who Eratosthenes was.
Yeah,
Hold on.
Eratosthenes.
Obviously, simply invoking it's simply history or it's simply fact is simply not an argument. So we are going to have to do better than that.
Well,
hold on, let's ask Russ. Russ, did
fact
Eratosthenes figure out the distance to the sun, or did he supposedly? Okay, you're just going to keep talking.
No, because Troubling Tribune is literally saying that history is not history when it's literally documented.
That's not
in
what he just said.
Okay. Of Alexandria.
Okay,
that is literally not what he
now you're
just
just
said.
trying
That's
to waste
literally
time. Let
what
me
he
ask you a
said.
question, Russ.
Josh,
No.
you
Let me
don't
ask you a
even
question.
understand.
Dude, you've been telling me I don't understand, but I
Can I ask
perfectly
the question,
understand.
Tribune?
You don't. It's fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
You don't.
Casey, please ask your question.
He's
Go
going to
ahead,
keep
Casey.
talking.
Ask a dumb question. Let's go.
Wow. Okay, that is a poisoning the well fallacy. So, did
That's called, get
Eratosthenes
the fuck
figure?
after
Okay,
it.
you're gonna just keep talking. Okay,
Come on,
calm
Big
down.
Daddy, let him ask it.
Hurry up.
Impulse control.
Impulse control, Casey. Just ask
Impulse
your
control,
fucking
buddy.
question because
Impulse
I don't have
control.
nice.
You're still talking.
I don't have all night, Casey, for you to grandstand and act like a douchebag. Just ask your fucking question.
That's
incredible. Did Eratosthenes figure out the radius of the Earth supposedly, or the distance to the sun with his shadows and stick experiment?
He figured out the radius of the Earth with his stick and shadow experiment.
Perfect. So why are you invoking that you can figure out the distance to the sun with the stick and shadow experiment?
Because the same principle applies, Casey. Do you not understand that if you know one dimension of a triangle, you can figure out the other two?
Does a triangle have a flat
there's
bottom
two
or
assumed values in that equation.
Hold on, Jay. Does a triangle have a flat bottom or a curved bottom?
It has a flat bottom.
So why are you invoking a flat bottom to figure out the distance to the sun when on your model we're on a curved surface?
Yeah, Caleb, do you understand how cartography works? You draw.
Cartography
Do you
is
understand the
mapping of
distance that
continents. Why are you
Aristosany was
Gishtal,
implying
You
during his
do-
What are
experiment?
you
do
doing? You realize that that's
understand.
not
Hey,
relevant? That's
All right,
that's
one at a
spelling
time.
First
fallacy.
off, troubling. Why in the fuck are you bringing in a third person to talk over somebody else?
I'll bring in whoever wants to come in.
Okay,
So
we
that's
have
just
the
how
other
it is.
So you're not.
Calm
you're
down.
It's not my
you're
fault
not
that Glober.
interested
Hold
in
on.
having
It's hold on. It's not my fault that Globers aren't coming in to help you out for one. For two, I would like everybody. Big Russ, that is a great point. I would like everybody to stop interrupting everybody.
Okay.
So
I apologize for that.
It's hard when he just monologues for 5 minutes.
yeah, and that's the other thing with the non-interruption. We're going to have to make very concise, specific points that way, because everybody has something that they want to say, and we can't say if one point leads to another point, then you have to be quick about it. You have to be like, okay, this means this, which means this, done. That way, because somebody's going to have something to say. So I want to make sure everybody has their chance to say their piece uninterrupted.
Can I
I
reiterate?
jumped
my
in for one
question?
thing.
Go ahead,
I got two people at the same time. Casey, go, and then Curvature Nope, go.
Okay, so I just want to reiterate my question to Russ. What does if a triangle has a flat bottom, why are you invoking triangulation on a curved surface over thousands of miles between the 2 points?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Curvature, is your question have to do with this specific point, or is it something else?
Aristosthenes.
Okay.
Specks and shadows.
I would like Big Daddy go ahead and answer Casey's question first, and then Curvature Nope, go ahead and ask yours.
Okay.
sure.
So triangulation works under the assumption of the observer. Okay. If I'm standing on a boat looking at the horizon, between me and the horizon is the flat surface of a triangle, and the object in the sky is another angle, and we can figure out from there, because triangles have how many degrees in them? 180. Fucking weird, right?
Why
So-
did you avoid my question?
I'm answering it, Caleb. You're just not intelligent enough to understand
You're
it.
committing a red herring.
Russ,
fallacy.
come on,
Is,
dude.
is that what it is? Because listen, if I take a basketball and I set it up on the table and I'm
Oh my
doing
God.
like still art, and I want to paint from one side of it to the
A sphere has
opposite
no flat
side.
surfaces.
Ghost, shut the fuck up.
Was that factual or not?
What's so funny about saying something completely and utterly ridiculous and then giggling about
Is that
it? Casey? Is that
ridiculous?
intelligent?
Really? Do you see what he does to me
Yeah.
in his little?
Okay. So what is the diameter of a circle?
Oh my gosh, bro. How do you get the distance to the sun with shadows, Russ? Please, bro. We've asked you like 10 times.
Do you understand that I'm telling you and you're not getting it?
No, you said triangulation, which invokes that the
Again.
surface of a triangle is flat at the bottom when we're supposed to be on a very curved surface. That makes absolutely no sense, and you can't understand that. It's actually hilarious.
No, what's really hilarious is that you don't understand that I can look at a ball 2-dimensionally, 3-dimensionally, and I can draw a converging point from the diameter of the ball to any point above it, below it, or beside it. Do you not understand that?
Okay, we do, but next.
Okay.
How does that prove the distance?
Yeah, how
So-
that.
If we are
love that answer.
10,095 miles apart and his sun is coming at him at 12 degrees and he is looking in a specific direction on the compass, and I am looking 259 degrees in the opposite direction, where is the convergence point of our shadows?
Russ,
Is
how
it,
does this
is it is it at the surface, Caleb, or is it above it?
how does this prove the sun is 93 million miles
You
away? Russ?
just told 168 people you don't understand triangulation.
No, I would like.
Congratulations, you're a
No,
moron.
I very well understand triangulation. You can't invoke
Russ, do you think that's
triangulation
what's
on
been
a
going
curved
on this whole time?
Jay, chill out, bro.
Sorry.
You
Yeah.
can't invoke triangulation on a curved surface.
Why can't I? We've been doing it for hundreds of years.
Which is insanity because the surface of
Why?
the Earth is supposed to be curved. Therefore, it would be arc lengths, not a parallel line.
How old are the pyramids?
What are you doing
What
here,
does that
Red?
have to do with the specific question?
Red herring fallacy.
Red herring, the pyramids exist, and some smart motherfuckers that didn't have
What is-
digital calculators.
What is
figured out
red
how to
herring
build-
fallacy? What is a red herring fallacy?
Relate it in a
It's
sentence.
exactly what you keep saying every time you have no impulse control and somebody's about to dog walk your ass.
No, what is a red herring fallacy?
Again.
Define it.
What is triangulation, Caleb?
Define a red herring fallacy, Russ.
Define
Russ, you
what
seem to be a little stressed, man.
You seem to be a little
yeah.
lost. I don't think you actually know what a red herring fallacy is. So
I
define
don't.
it for us.
I don't fucking need to because it doesn't.
Yeah, so
prove
you're
the
admitting
shape
you
of the
don't
Earth.
know.
Yeah, it doesn't prove the shape of the Earth.
Figured.
Okay, so prove. to
Curvature.
me-
Hold on, Big Daddy, before you go on.
Hold on before you.
No, but hold on, because we had an
Hold
order.
on. You
No, I had an order of
you-
operations. You're going to have to hold on. It's my show.
you
Curvature
just-
Nope
you
had a
just
question
said
about
that
Aristophanes, and then
history
you can
wasn't
ask your
history.
question.
Yeah, you just said history wasn't history when it's documented.
Oh
in
my
the
gosh, that
fucking
is not
what you
Library of
said.
Alexandria.
Yeah, that's not what I
So
said
why
for
is
one.
anybody
I'll
gonna-
answer your
Why
question.
is
Different
anybody
account
going
real
to
quick.
take you seriously?
I'll tell you what.
Tribune.
I'll answer your question right after Curvature Nope asks his, and whoever he asks it to answers it.
Tribune, I'm dropping out.
Let's
I'm
do
going to hop in on a different account.
Casey Industry, come on
See
back.
you later. Fucking
All right,
crying
Caleb.
baby little
He
bitch.
just did you not hear him? He said he's coming back on another account.
He just
no,
knows how
he's
you
not.
are.
He's gonna run away and open another fucking live, and he's gonna start lying about what we talked
No,
about.
he's coming
I'll be
in
back
to
all
this
the-
live on another
I highly
account.
doubt it.
Chill,
I highly
He
dude.
just
doubt it.
didn't listen.
Go ahead, Curvature Nope. What do you got?
All right. As far as the question was, how far is the sun? How was that measured? And you implied the Aristophanes experiments of the sticks and shadows of how they got 93 million miles away.
Cool.
When that experiment was being done, when that model was being made up,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
distance to the sun was not 93 million miles in their model.
So answer me this: when in the fuck did I say Eratosthenes' experiment proved how far away the sun was?
What?
You literally
I
said
didn't say
when did I
prove.
say
You,
that?
Hold on,
you,
hold on.
you
Let's
were
go.
you were
When did
saying
I
that
say that?
implied it because of
Tribune,
calculations.
can I talk?
Okay. Well, we just did it 2 days
This
ago.
is
2 days ago, and it had nothing to do with Eratosthenes.
Okay,
Caleb brought up
okay, hold on.
Eratosthenes
Now
because
I
he
gotta.
heard-
Now I
this
gotta
is just
jump in.
pure
Because
manipulation.
Caleb
Hold on.
Caleb heard shadows and angles and
This is
thought
pure
Eratosthenes.
manipulation. No, this is pure manipulation.
Yeah, this is Jay. Shut the fuck up. You're not even a
Yeah,
part
you
of it.
know.
Holy cow!
Chomp
We got
on
any
it.
more respectful Globers in the box yet, Tribune?
Not yet.
Why should
Dang it.
anybody respect you, Caleb? You can't even tell the truth about how that.
All right,
whole
so I'm gonna
fucking
put Big Daddy. You're on notice officially. This is how I do
Yeah.
things from now on. Since you keep ad homing, if you ad hom again, I'm gonna have to kick you. All right. So this is your fair, honest to God warning. And same thing with I'll do the same thing with the interruption. The next person who interrupts somebody, you're gonna get put on notice, and then if you interrupt again, you're gonna be out.
Can I go?
So, yeah, go ahead, Casey. Go for it.
So Russ is in here saying that we can figure out the distance to the sun by shadows from sticks, and then coincidentally following up that sentence by saying that has no relation to the Eratosthenes observation. Do you see the problem, Russ?
You don't understand what the fuck I was explaining
There we
because you
go,
keep
at home.
thinking about Eratosthenes. Again, and I will point out this, that troubling Tribune, while you were trying to hold a respectable debate, you said you would answer my question after Curvature Nope. And
I
then
will
you-
answer it.
you
You're right.
You jumped straight to Casey like he's supposed to matter.
Yeah, I actually forgot. You're right about that. What was your question?
Another ad hom.
How is it that your claim that history is somehow, I don't know, let's paraphrase, subjective when it's literally recorded in the Library
So-
of Alexandria about an individual existing and the things that he created.
You mean the library that supposedly had burned down that we had rescued things from? The thing is this, Russ. It's not that history itself is subjective, right? History, we can agree, happened, right? Things happened, and things can be documented. The fallacy is then saying that everything that is documented is true or 100% true history, or even that claiming that something is history or something being history is empirical, is actually empirical fact or can be used to prove something scientific. It doesn't. So simply saying that Eratosthenes did this experiment, which proved the circumference of the Earth, and that's history, is not an actual solid argument. The argument that you would have to make is this is what Eratosthenes said. This is his argument, and these are the angles, and this is what's presented. That's the actual argument that has merit. Saying that, well, this is a part of history, has absolutely no merit in this debate whatsoever. And I think we can agree on that.
So
Tribune, can I say something real quick?
You're implying that
1 second.
Eratosthenes didn't do what he did because I didn't phrase it properly, or
No, I'm saying that claiming as something as history as a valid argument to back up the claim doesn't mean anything. It's not a powerful argument in this debate.
Oh,
Casey
why?
Industry, go ahead.
I would just like to tell everybody, all these wonderful people listening, that Russ still has had no absolute proof that you can figure out the distance to the sun through sticks and shadows.
Okay. So once again, if shadows are if light is casting shadows, can you determine the location of the light that is creating the shadow? Yes or no?
No.
That's all we need to know about your level of intelligence. Caleb.
But you would need, Big Daddy, what would you need to know to determine the distance of a light source? What are all the factors that you'd need?
The angles of the two control points,
No.
right? And then the point at which they would converge. You don't need to know exactly how far apart they are. You just need to know that if there are two angles and the light is not parallel and it's coming from something local, those two lines on a flat surface will converge to the tip of the pyramid, yes or no?
So I'm
If
sorry,
I can,
Casey, go ahead.
I'll just be really quick, and then you can make a point, Tribune. So, if you did this with crepuscular rays, do you think you'd get 93 million miles distance, or a lot closer?
You would find out if you understood what crepuscular rays were.
Why
You
is
would
it always an
find out
ad
that
hom? I'm
it's-
not trying to interrupt, but why is it always
Hold on.
an ad
I'm going to correct the record real quick because an ad hom isn't simply just saying that if you can understand something. That's not the ad hom. It's if he like calls a name or that says that you're stupid. Simply claiming that you don't understand something is not ad hom. And if I was attacking people for simply the tone that they were taking, then everybody would be out. So I just want to make that point.
Yeah. So crepuscular rays are a great example of understanding angles and light sources. Has anybody ever looked at crepuscular rays and then taken 10 steps to the left or the right? Have you ever done that? Why do the angles change so quickly?
Can you prove that claim?
Yes. Go watch crepuscular rays and then take 10 steps to the left or the right.
It's relative position. That's a simple answer.
Okay. Great. Now you understand angles.
So, if you did what you're saying you can do with light rays to crepuscular rays, do you think you would get a distance of 93 million miles, or a lot more local?
From the other side of the planet, you would absolutely find out that you are looking across the surface so close to the horizon that mathematically it could not be anything but beyond millions of miles away. Because if you model it out in 2-dimension, Casey, you are going to see that the point in which those shadows converge, if you back them up to the scale of our latitude and longitude lines and the locations the observations were made, you would literally be over the entire width of the Gleason map to scale. It would be off the page. That's triangulation.
Do you think on one side of the southern hemiplane you can see the same sun as the complete opposite side of the southern hemiplane of the other side of the southern hemiplane, or would the other side be in complete darkness?
No, we are so close to being on the opposite sides of the planet that we mathematically figured out the distance apart based on our latitude and longitude lines at 10,095 miles away.
You're just saying stuff, bro. You're not proving that you can figure out the distance to the sun through shadows. I hope you realize that.
Even
Okay. So
and I would also add, I mean, even if what you're saying is completely and utterly accurate about like the way that the angles in the sun would have to be with the particular distances, the entire distance of the Gleason's map is nowhere near the 93 million miles that is being claimed. At best, you could claim that we have proof that the light rays are coming parallel. That would not actually prove the specific distance. Could we agree on that?
yes, because nobody's implying the Gleason map is the 93 million mile distance. We are measuring the convergence point of a triangle based on observation, and if you back the angles up to scale on a flat and or topographical surface, the distance apart is so fucking vast it doesn't even fit on a Mercator projection, let alone a Gleason map.
Can I add something? So what does that do from Big Daddy Russ? Do you know?
Yes. So when we make the observation in the equivalency factor of the sun being at 22.5 degrees or 26.5 degrees from Australia looking west.
So you kind of said it, kind of didn't, but
looking east at the sunrise, and us in the northern hemisphere looking west at the sunset. You have two angles of exactly the same inclination off of our observing plane, if you will. Okay, 26.5 degrees.
Are there any assumed values in those equations?
From two directions.
Big Daddy Russ?
From two directions, there is a convergence point, yes or no?
Is there any assumed values in those equations?
None at all.
Okay, that's dishonest.
How is
They
it
don't
dishonest?
assume the radius?
How is it dishonest?
So there's this assumed values in almost every equation when it has to do with astrocosmology.
How is looking at literally with a quadrant?
You're measuring with your eyes? Is that what the fallacy is?
At a light source, how is a quadrant looking at a light source implying anything?
Okay.
We might need to change topics, Tribune. Have him provide a different proof the Earth's a ball, because we have only talked about the distance of the sun, not proof that the Earth's a ball.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what you wanted to talk about, and now you don't want to talk about it anymore because now you either understand it or you still don't. So which one is it?
Oh my
I'm
God.
done
Well,
talking
again-
about it because your points are completely fallacious and they make absolutely no sense. So I think you can't make a coherent point. So I think it's funny, and I think we should go on to another point because we're just going in a circular argument.
So triangles are fallacious. Is that what you're
Oh
allowing?
my
him to
God.
say?
Yes, when they have a
So-
curved value.
Triangles are fallacious. That's what you're saying, Caleb.
How did you get the triangle in the first place?
Did you not just listen to what I said, Troubling?
Well, again, when you're drawing, from what I heard, it sounded like one of the legs of the triangle was the distance between two different locations on Earth, which to me would imply a curved line. Am I incorrect on that?
We didn't imply anything. We just measured the light source, the angle the light was coming at us at the horizon, looking towards each other. He was looking east and I was looking west.
Are you the guy doing the equation? Because I highly suggest you do that so you can understand how these equations actually work.
Yeah, I did live. It's too bad
Okay.
you weren't there.
Oh, okay.
We're going to do it again tomorrow morning if it's clear. And he's going to be looking in the other direction. He's going to be looking at the sunset, and I'm going to be looking at the sunrise.
And there's going to be absolutely no assumed values there.
None. It's literally using a quadrant to find the source of light. That's it.
And what is a quadrant?
Okay.
A quadrant is literally 1/4 of a circle. Okay.
Okay, so
It-
you see the issue, you see the assumption, right? Like, let's just be honest for a second. Like, you see what we're talking about.
yes. Do you understand how a sextant works?
Yes, I do.
Okay. A quadrant is a function of a sextant. We just left all of that nonsense that's attached to a sextant off to make this as primitive an observation as possible. You can
Okay, so from what I understand about a sextant, all that does is measure angles from objects in the sky, so that by superimposing them on the horizon.
yes, and what are those angles?
Well, they're not spheres, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're triangles. Those things
Right.
that KC says we can't measure.
No, I agree that we can measure triangles. I'm trying to find where your triangle becomes a curved surface and how you measure the angle on that curved surface. Or on that
Again-
curved leg, whatever you want to call it. It's the leg of the triangle.
Again, how if you have to assume that this planet, whether it be flat or spherical, has a size, right?
No.
No.
Yeah, if you are a flat earther or a true earther, we don't make an egregious claim as to know the exact size of the Earth.
That is being intellectually dishonest, troubling. You do understand that, right?
Hold on one second. So it's dishonest for me to say that I do not know personally the size of the Earth.
It has a limit. And you're saying you don't think it does.
I'm saying I don't know the limit. There's a difference.
Why?
Because I haven't gone out and measured it, and I haven't seen reliable measurements.
So if you were to partake in this experiment tomorrow, if the sun is actually apparent in the sky because of weather and on two different sides of this planet or this plane, whatever we want to call it, pronoun the piss out of it if we want, you could actually do this with us and you could measure what exactly do you think we're measuring?
Will you let
So-
us do the math?
To me, it sounds like one side's measuring the sunset, where the other person's measuring the sunrise, and you're trying to find the distance, or the apparent distance, or what you would call the GP, general position of the sun over the Earth at that specific time.
Yes, you're getting it. Yep.
Okay, so, and what is this going to prove exactly? If you can, because if you're on a flat Earth, right, then you measure the sun setting, and the other person measures it at the same distance that it's rising. I mean, that doesn't really verify anything to me. How would
Okay,
it verify the
so-
sphericity of the Earth?
So I have to give it an analogy, and I apologize. It's as primitive as I can get. If you take a basketball, the stripes in a basketball, and you start at one side and go to the other and measure over the surface, it would have a linear measurement, correct?
Sure. Because you're not taking the curve into consideration in this hypothetical.
Right. So
Sure.
it would have a finite measurement. If you take a triangle and you impose the 22.5 degrees, 26.5 degrees from our experiment, and you were to model that, at an elevation determined by how far apart you think you are, our control is Victor Harbor and Dayton, Ohio. Okay, we have to just assume that it is flat between the two of us because we're modeling this, and then we take two angles of 26.3 degrees, I think is what it is. I don't have it in front of me. I apologize. So I'm being a little bit incredulous. They will converge at a point above our control line between the two, and we would have an assumed distance in the zenith, which is the center point of convergence, and 90 degrees down to our plane, right? We could absolutely fundamentally determine that there is no fucking way the sun is 3,000 feet above our head.
Wait. Shoot. Never mind.
I mean, I'd be cool with the verification of a debunk of a distance. That's totally cool.
Exactly. And so if you take that point of convergence and you take the same angles and you go the other way with them until they hit a line of assumed plane, we would be able to measure. It's the same thing as, sticking your hand out, holding your thumb up and closing one eye, and then opening the other and closing that eye. You could measure a distance laterally across the ground just by using the 3 3/4 inches between your eyeballs. So you could literally draw those lines as you are the convergence point back to the assumed plane, right? At some point, they're going to get far enough apart where they're going to hit a horizontal surface. You would then be able to measure from A to B and from B to C, and you would have finite mathematics. When you do that observation with us tomorrow, you are going to see not only are we looking further around something that when we open it up and model it two-dimensionally on a assumed horizontal plane, it does not line up with anybody's assumption of how big the Earth is. It's basic triangulation.
So, correct. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly. You said that it doesn't match anybody's assumption?
Yes, it can't, because we know the sun is not as close as the moon, because there's never been a point where the moon was behind the sun, right?
So you've done the so this experiment's also been done with the moon, also with like moonrise and moonset.
We haven't needed to.
Well, wouldn't it be interesting though if we're going to claim that they're different distances?
It would be absolutely fun. Yes.
I'm open to seeing the experiment. I'm open to the results being the result of an optical phenomenon, though. So I would have to see and learn more about it to make any definitive opinion about it. But I do like debunking things. If there's a way that we can definitively debunk that, hey, we know that something cannot be this close because of this particular thing, then that would be cool. When things become too far, that's when it tends to be, at least from what I've been seeing, it tends to be easy to justify, bringing things back into view from what I've been seeing on like the globe side. But like I said, I'm open to seeing the experiment. I'm also curious to see how much refraction it takes into account, since we are looking, through the densest part of the medium, whether you believe in the plane or the sphere, we have to agree that that's going to be the densest part. And that's why we see so many optical illusions and magnifications on the horizon with the sun and moon. I actually seen one of those just the other day, which I thought was pretty cool. But
Agreed. Yeah,
I'm
we
confused
would
about
have
the
to.
experiment a little bit. Can I allow my confusion?
I'm sorry, you broke up. What did you say?
I'm confused on the experiment a little bit. Can I elaborate on my confusion?
Sure.
So I thought with Pythagorean's theorem, you had to have two values to get the third value. But how it sounds like you're explaining this experiment is that you're taking one value and getting two values.
We're taking two values, which is the two angles of observation from two different locations.
Could you explain the two values, please?
Yes. The values are the angles of inclination from the observer,
between each other, right?
and we assume
No,
a
so one
flat
is the
plane
ground in between each other. That's not two values. That's just one value.
No, it's not. It's two sides of a triangle.
yeah, it's two angles.
So think of it, right?
So again, Jay, it's two angles.
That's one value, though, right? Of the
I'll
triangle.
let Trebling answer that for you.
No, so it Ghost, it actually is two values, because each angle that from each different observer is a different value. So the one observer and his angle to the observation, that's going to be one angle, that's one value, and then the other observation, the other observer on the other side, the angle that they make, that's going to be a second value.
Nothing.
But I think what you meant to say is that you need to figure out one of the legs before. You can't just use the angles. You actually have to know the distance with the leg. Does that make sense? So 2 angles and a side you can figure out a triangle, but you cannot figure out a triangle with just 2 angles.
That was fun.
Hello. Am I still coming through or what?
Yeah, you're still there.
He was having a bad connection.
Okay, it's not me, it's him.
Yep.
Cool. All right, I can live with that. Ghost of Modern Warfare, did you hear me or do I need to repeat it?
Well, this is fun. I'm an old ass. I need to get to bed. It's 11:15.
Awesome. Appreciate you coming on, Russ.
Have a good one.
Have a good one, Russ.
All right, and we have Charlie Brown in the box. Ghost of Modern Warfare, I don't know if you were able to catch what I said, but basically what you meant to say was that you need a side of the triangle, and then you can use 2 angles. What you cannot do is you cannot just use 2 angles with not knowing any of the sides and figure out the triangle.
Yo, boys, I'm out. It was a good chat.
All right, Casey, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Later.
Peace.
Well, I wanted to ask KC a question. That's all gone.
Well, he might be in the chat
I just want to bring up, like I always bring up, I want to bring up the Southern Cross.
So the stars have... No, you're fine. You don't have to apologize. If you haven't heard the...
Is that better?
Yeah, you still got like 1 bar of connection, it said. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, let me see here. I did have one other person, but it looks like... Yeah, can you hear us? Are you good? Hello, hello, Charlie Brown. Going once.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
yes,
me?
we can hear you, Charlie. Can you hear us? Charlie going twice?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay.
I can hear you now.
Awesome. So you had a question about the Southern Cross?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So, real quick, I'll answer that in just 1 second. Welcome, GI Pass, I think. I didn't really quite see your name. GI Joe, awesome. Thanks for coming on. Charlie Brown, to address your question about the Southern Cross, basically the best answer that I've heard so far is that it's a perspective issue. So what happens is you can create 2 different points of convergence when you have a parallel path of light or a almost parallel path of light. And when you're seeing in the... It's referred to as an azimuthal grid, but that's just because there's not really a better way to put it at this point. It's basically a dumbed down way of, or a smarter way of saying perspective. We have convergence, optical convergence that happens as things get further in the distance. And obviously all the stars in the sky above us are not all the same like distance, regardless of what model you believe in. So the ones that are further off to the side are going to have more convergence, and that convergence is going to seemingly cause a almost a rotation. Nobody actually sees the stars complete the full rotation because, you know, you don't have 24 hours of night, but that's just kind of the best way that I can address it. I haven't looked into it with a specific terminology and all that good stuff that you'd probably want.
That's all well and good, but so that would mean I should be able to see Polaris in Australia.
Oh, absolutely not.
Same distances. Why I say this is you're just talking about all this refractions and all this stuff. South Africa or South America from Australia is a bloody long way. Now to the centre of where your Polaris is, it's closer. So
I'm really glad that you brought
Polaris?
this up.
And yep, and I could. We could all do the experiment without having to do anything, but you could pick a number find someone from South America, South Africa. We could do it over the phone. We could all pick a random number, like find out some numbers from them areas, find someone that's willing to go out the front and look at the stars for us and tell them what they're looking at. And we could all do it around the same time, and we'd all see the Southern Cross at the same time, yet I can't see Polaris. I'll mute myself now.
Oh, you're fine. Just real quick, somebody in my in my YouTube made a really funny comment. It's like, if the Earth is flat, show me physical proof of the ice wall and no pictures. So like they'd want me to like grab a piece of ice and then be like, here it is, I have the ice wall right freaking here. It's absolutely comical. No, there's definitely, you just don't call it an ice wall, it's called an ice shelf, right? So that's enough of that. An ice shelf being on the planet or being on the edge of the flat Earth doesn't prove anything one way or the other. Sorry. To address Charlie's question.
So can we go back to mine?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to do. So to address what you're saying about the stars, there's actually some things that you have to acknowledge. You can actually see 2 counterpoints of rotation, and that's in the northern hemisphere and in the southern hemisphere. Now, it is true that in the southern hemisphere, you cannot see Polaris. Well, for most of it, it actually has been seen for, I believe, up to 30% past. So as far as the, Tropic of Capricorn? I can't remember which one's on the southern, closer to the south, and which one's closer to the north, but it doesn't really matter. You get what I'm trying to say.
You can see it in Hawaii.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. You can see the North Star a little bit too far south. So in any case, you can actually see 2 opposite points of convergence in any observation that of the star trails that you take when you're not looking directly at the north, when you're not looking at the north star trail, or directly at the as far as you can to the southern or seemingly southern rotation. So that's something that's actually, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, from what I've seen, it's inexplainable on a globe Earth to see the 2 separate points of rotation in such a small section of Earth, because supposedly you should only be able to see that on the equator.
No, that's not quite right. I'm not understanding what you mean. So you're trying to say I can't see the rotation of the stars from Australia?
So I'm saying the rotation actually doesn't. I'm saying the rotation doesn't prove it either way, because there's actually observations that don't make sense on the globe. For example, in the southern hemisphere, being able to see, not at the equator, past the equator, being able to see 2 separate points of convergence, or 2 separate rotations, if you will, going 2 completely separate ways, not at the equator, right? Makes perfect sense if you see it at the equator. Makes perfect sense if you see it only at the equator every time. But we're seeing it in the southern hemisphere, and I have to check into it, but I believe we're also seeing it in the northern hemisphere as well.
No, but you're not seeing it in the southern hemisphere, not deep down in the southern hemisphere at all. And Globey McGlobeface done the old the 2 points of the Southern Cross experiment, and all that we've ever got out of flat earthers is, we need 3 points. 2 points proves it as good as 3 points, and we're looking southwest. So it can't happen on a flat Earth, man. It just can't happen on a flat Earth.
Though, right? You know that, right?
It wasn't failed.
His last
How was it failed?
Due to weather conditions.
No, it wasn't.
Everybody take a deep breath.
Yeah, that was the 3 points. Yeah, sorry, that was the 3 points. That was when he was trying to do the 3 points. It failed. He did the 2. He did it with Ted Craig, and he did it with somebody else. I can't think of the other name, but Ted Craig was the Australian.
Is that a fallacious statement or no?
Yeah, go ahead, Charlie. Try not to.
Statement, like
Charlie, try not to monologue so much.
What did I just say wrong? I'm lost.
No, you're talking a little bit too much, right? Make a quick, concise point.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay, sorry about that. Well,
go ahead.
My precise point is you cut.
The last one that Globey McGlobeface did was failed due to weather conditions. So I don't know, and I can't say about the first one because I didn't see a lot of steam on it. I think I have no idea. So, but the
I'll just give him.
That he did was with 2 of their.
Sorry, I need to follow my own rule. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. He can continue. I was just like, it was weird to me because the last one was failed. Like, whether it was because of weather conditions, like it was failed.
So, yeah, I'll leave it.
But the first one wasn't failed.
So it's always been failed with the 3 observers. He did successfully do it with 2 observers, and let's just give it to him, right? The thing is that from what I've seen it be modeled, if you actually have all the observers looking what Stellarium said they were looking, it doesn't model right on the globe. Like, they're actually all looking like it's weird when you model them all the direct direction that they're supposedly facing.
No,
It's like south,
no,
southwest.
It does model on the globe, but we'll get past that because we're going to disagree. The other thing is, what about the fact that yous have up? Oh, not you. I shouldn't say that. Certain flat earthers have up on their pages the sun in Texas and the sun in sorry. The moon in Texas and the moon in New Zealand at the same time, or the sun. I think it was the moon. And how does that happen on a flat earth? That would mean you'd have to have two moons, wouldn't it?
A
So if
moon
you've got a
over.
moon in Texas and you've got, so they took a picture of the moon in Texas. At the exact same time, there's a moon in New Zealand, and it's on a couple of flat earthers' pages, and they're sort of saying it proves a flat Earth. Well, you can't have two moons on a flat Earth.
Wait,
Yeah, it's
wait,
not
wait,
two
so
moons. I
is
think you
the
just
curvature
misunderstood their
block-
point.
Is the curvature blocking?
I did.
Like,
Well, what was
I
their
don't
point?
Ad hom, but like that it's flat, so you can see it above because it's high.
But all I'm sort
So,
of getting
like,
at
on your
is,
model,
you know,
like,
you
it's
can
where it
make up
wouldn't work
excuses.
because- What?
No, but
It's-
I'm trying to explain it in the nicest way I
What I
could.
was trying. No, because I hadn't finished. What I was trying to get at was, so you would need your two, in my opinion, you would need your two moons, all right? So then if you go back to all of this again, so we're looking in Texas and we're looking in New Zealand, which is next to Australia. Yet again, so all that happens with whatever you want to explain why it happens. Why can't I see Polaris?
So explain
I've
how
never
the
been
moon
able to
thing
see
works
Polaris
on
in
your
Australia.
model. Explain how the moon thing works on your model real quick, since you're using it as a positive statement.
It's all to do with it's all to do with angles, and I'd have to have this two moons to show you, right? I would have to
Okay,
have
so that would
the Earth
assume
and
a
the
flat,
like a globe to
flat
show you.
area to
No,
have
well, I'm
those
just asking
angles,
a simple
right? Because you
question.
have curvature
I
in your
asked
way.
it. I asked a simple question on a flat Earth. If you see the two moons, one in this country and one in this country, at the same time, you're saying
On
it proves
opposite
flat,
sides of your
then what?
ball, yes.
Oh my goodness, my goodness. So why can't I see Polaris? See the two moons at the same time, right opposite each side of the world. Why can't I see Polaris? Because that's less distance than what you're
The
doing
moon's
now.
pretty bright. The moon's pretty bright. The
Ah,
stars aren't
so
as
is
bright.
Polaris. Polaris is pretty bright. You're
Okay,
sort of
No,
running around in circles.
So hold on, you claim that they're the same distance. That's actually a claim I'd like to address. So
No.
you're saying the distance from Polaris to you is a smaller distance than the moon, or the being able to see the moon between New Zealand and Texas.
Yes, that was.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Okay, can you give me like the rough estimates? Like how far are you thinking Texas is
I
to New
can't give
Zealand?
you. I'm just going on your map, right? If you look at your map and you go across, Polaris is up in the sky, so I should be able to see it easier because it's up in the sky, right? But I can't see Polaris from Australia, but you can see the sun can be in America and the sun can be in New Zealand at the same time, on the moon, sorry, at the same time on a flat Earth. Explain me
So
how
it's
that
not
can happen on a flat
so
Earth.
Can you see
actually.
the Big Dipper ever?
Well, I'll make a
No, I
very
can't see
simple.
the Big Dipper.
Very simple point. In Texas, the moon, we can agree that the moon's not literally like directly over Texas when they're seeing it, right? It can be like up over the ocean or, up over New Zealand, right? The most extreme version of your claim would be that the moon is directly 90 degrees above Texas or New Zealand, and that the other country or the other continent is able to still see that moon, right? Would that be the most extreme example?
That would be the most extreme, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm just basically saying we can both see it. I don't know
Right, so
from
it could
above,
be.
I don't know an angle.
So it could be in the middle of New Zealand and Texas, right? Just hypothetically on the flat Earth.
Yeah, for sure. I'll wear that.
So if the distance from the moon from Texas man, it's really hard because I don't know what it is right off the top of my head. But let's just say,
Let's do my computer. I'll get it all.
yeah, if you could get like let's just say it's 15,000 miles, give or take. because the whole entire diameter of Earth, or sorry, was it diameter or circumference? Circumference is like 24,000 miles, right? So it's not going to be that big, but it could be, yeah, it could be 15,000 miles, right? And that'd be still pretty fucking huge.
Yep.
Okay. So let's just say it is, and when you pull this up, Ghost Modern, if I'm way off, then just correct it. But we got half the distance in between them to get the moon, so now the moon is only 7,000 miles away. So
specific spot in Texas, or is this just Texas to New Zealand, right?
just do Texas to New Zealand. It doesn't matter. This like too specific. We're dealing with like maybe a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 at the most miles.
In saying what you're saying there, how far is Polaris from Texas?
That's actually what I was about to ask you. How far is?
You make the same comparison, don't you?
So since you were the one who made the claim that it doesn't work, that's why I'm just simply asking you, for the figures. And if you don't have it, then I'm going to try to come up with it. So how far do you assume? How far would you assume the general position, which would mean its position over the Earth, that Polaris would be from you in Australia? How many miles from you to the North Pole?
On the flat?
Yeah, on the flat Earth.
On the flat Earth? Jeez, I don't know. I would assume, and I'm only assuming, 10,000, 10,000.
Well, that would answer your question right on its face, if true, right? Because Polaris would then be 10,000 miles away, and the moon would be 7,000. So you got 3,000 more miles between you and Polaris.
But how far is it from Texas, Polaris?
That's a good question. Give me a second.
And I'm only assuming. I did say that.
We're definitely
the distances.
We're definitely assuming, but I'm just trying to work out like the concept. If the concept of what you're saying will even work out. And from what I'm seeing, 3,000 miles is a pretty huge discrepancy. But again, we can see Polaris from Texas. So, but just to get the comparison, Texas to the North Pole distance. How far is Texas from the North Pole? 4,009 miles. Okay, so now let's do Australia.
I want to know how far Texas is from. Polaris on your model, not from.
We don't know how far the stars are. That's why I gave you a general position, which is good enough.
Yeah, but it doesn't really answer my question, does it? Because I want to know. I'd like to know how far you believe Polaris is.
But we also don't know how far the moon is. So again, if you're going to say that we know for sure that, again, we don't know where the moon is or the star is, so how can we make any definitive claim based on the relative position of one or the other?
So in saying all that, then how do you know it's not 245,000 miles away? How do you know that we're wrong? If you can't, you know what I mean? If I said to you it's 10 miles to your house and somebody said, no, it's not that. And I said, well, how far is it? And they said, I don't know. And I said, but I've measured it. It's 10 Ks. And they said, no, that's not right, but I don't know. Wouldn't you think that's a really stupid sort of way to have an argument? Okay, it's not that far, but I don't know how far it is. Like, wouldn't you think it would be a better idea for someone to be able to say how far it is?
Charlie. The thing that and this is not just you. This is actually a common problem of thought that gets had, and that is the burden of positive claims versus simply refusing to not accept. Well, you say the evidence presented, but we can all agree that there is levels of evidence, right? And Globers often give the globe side way too much weight in an evidence that's not actually empirical. So, for example, to say that the distance of Polaris of being 240,000 miles or 240,000 light years or whatever the heck it is, to say that as a positive claim, to then be challenged on that, to say you don't know that, would not require me to then know the actual distance of the star. That's asinine. The burden is always on the positive claimant.
No, I was talking about the moon, and we can prove the distance from the moon. It's used that deny it. So now it's used that have to prove that we're wrong. It's used that would have to prove that the technique we're using and everything is wrong. and it's never been done. Otherwise, you'd be able to do your own moon and your own sun and give us the distances.
Which you're basing that off of the radar bouncing, right? Or radio signal?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, again, there's definitely assumptions involved, and when it comes to, at least like personally, I've not personally or seen anybody personally like bounce a radio signal, time it with a stopwatch or whatever the heck, and actually do that demonstration. So that's kind of a claim that's up in the air. The only people that do claim to do that are, the accused, right? The people in question, NASA, that we don't really trust, and it comes from an authority. And to simply say, well, they did it and they say that they did it, therefore it's true, would be no different than a priest of a church saying, well, I'm a priest and I spoke to God and God told me this, and you're not a priest, so you can't hear God. There's no way to prove that. There has to be something that even the layman's person can prove.
Well, Globey's done it. The layman's can do it. That's the whole point. You can do it, and Globey's
I've seen people
done it.
do it. I've seen people do it with the ISS. I've not seen it done with the moon.
Well, I have, and I've seen it. So you can't just say what I've seen is wrong, or I can't. So you've just got to tell me what I see I shouldn't believe, and then how many countries
you would
in the
produce
world
it.
have done it?
So the way that this would typically work, and I hate to interrupt, but in a typical debate, if you said, well, we can measure the distance to the moon based off of radio signal, and here it is. So me simply saying, well, I haven't seen it yet, it doesn't necessarily mean you're right. It doesn't mean that it can't be done. But again, you're making a positive claim. So,
yeah, I am making a positive claim. I'll accept that, but I'm making the claim because it's been proven over and over and over again. Now, yous have had how many thousands of years to do something about this and prove it wrong? It's never been proven. Why? I mean, why can't Flat Earth show the distance to the sun and the moon? Why can't they do that? Why can't they show us?
You're still wanting
I'll
replacement.
understand why you might not be able to do the distance to the dome. I'm wanting what?
Well, again, you're still wanting the failure of logic is that you're still wanting a replacement, right? As opposed to in place of the falsification, right? So again, we don't know, and that doesn't mean
that.
Because in order to get verifiable measurements, you have to actually check the work, right? So if I was to say that I know the distance between here and my neighbor's house down the street, I can verify that because I can break out a tape measure, or I can break out some measuring devices, and I can literally measure from here to my neighbor's house. If I'm going to say that I can measure from here to the distance of the sun, well, obviously you're not getting out your tape measure. So how are you doing this, and how are you verifying, checking that your method is accurate?
With parallax.
Can you elaborate?
So it can be done, and yous can do it. And yous can do it with parallax. Yous can do it with measurements. You can even do it with shadows. So yous can do it on a flat Earth. Why hasn't it ever been done? That's all. That's what I'm asking. I'm asking you, why doesn't someone on the flat Earth community get out there and do these experiments and do these maths? Yeah,
so just like there's, so you're just arguing from incredulity because you just aren't aware. There are tons of flat earthers who have attempted to get measurements, and the thing is, just like with measuring the distance to the sun on the globe model, I'm not sure if you're aware of the history of it, but the actual history of the distance to the sun has been changed actually 7 times. So before we have now at the agreed upon 93 million mile metric. So to simply say that we know this for a fact based on parallax, as if parallax wasn't something that was happening way back then when they were taking the measurements, it just shows that, the incredulity. So again, I would like to know, again, specifically how we're getting these distances, and then conversely how the distance would prove the shape of the Earth.
I explained how we got the distances, and it's been done thousands and thousands of times by people. Universities do it all the time.
You invoked
So
parallax
I'm not going to
as
go
a
into that.
magic.
I'm asking you.
Well, no, you invoked parallax as a magic word. I'm going to hold you to it. I'm not going to let you scoot. No, you're not going to ask a question and scoot away from the thing that you just did, right? So you just said parallax.
What do you want me to
You just
answer?
said parallax like it was a magic word and then hand waved it away. Explain what you mean exactly, how parallax is proving the exact distances and how I can't just hand wave that away with scaling invariance.
Well, as I said to you, I'm no scientist. I've watched them do it. So, and they explained as they do it. I can go on YouTube and watch them do it, and they explain as they're doing it, and it all makes perfectly sense. So why can't you do something like that that would make sense, and then we could either refute it or agree with it? But there's nothing done like that. Riz tried to do it and failed big time. All he did was prove a globe. So I have watched a few flat earthers try to do it, and it never works for them. You know?
Yeah, it seemed to. From what I've seen, there's a.
This is what I observe.
So it could be possible because again, we don't know what exactly the sun is. Now, I'm not saying I agree with this point. Again, because I don't know what the sun is. I tend to think that the sun is one object. However, it has been theorized that the sun could be something personal. You know, that everybody could have their own personal sun. Again, we're dealing with stuff that we don't actually know what the heck it is, and we're trying to get verification. So whoever's making the claim that they have the verification of what it is, that's an astounding claim, and it needs to be met with considerable evidence.
But it has been. That's my argument with you.
Then why has the distance changed seven
and people
times?
say I never said I. And could I just go to the people in the comments? I never said I am a scientist. I said I am not a scientist. I am going on what I see and what I observe and what I've watched. So
at least he's being honest about that.
High horse. At least they can get off their high horse and say, "Oh, he said I'm a scientist, but I just watch people." I never said I'm a scientist, and I'm not going to go into scientific theories when I don't really know about them properly. I'll stick to what I know or what I observe for myself. Thank you. And that's nothing to do with you, Tribune. Sorry.
No, I and I applaud your honesty with that, and because that's something that I make sure that I mention all the time is that I'm not an expert. I'm not a scientist as well. I'm just going based off the things that I've seen and trying to make my best judgments, and I think that that's what everybody is here to do. So, for anybody who is just attacking somebody for just trying to figure it out and trying to bring their evidence forward, that's just not the type of that's not the style of conversation I'm trying to have. So, just so you know.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. But I do have a couple guests in the box. I actually have Globy McGloveface and Old Greg. So if I could have, I think Old Greg is. I don't remember if Old Greg was a true earther or a glober or what. But Charlie, I know you're a glober, so it's great if you'd hop down for Globy. And I think Old Greg is. I can't remember. Buddy. I'm going to feel bad if I get it wrong, so I don't want to say one way or the other. So I guess it's bad enough that I don't remember because he's been on my show so many times. Alrighty. Charlie, I'll see you next time. Globy, you are always super patient.
Yep,
so.
no problems.
Absolutely. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and...
I can't seem to bloody...
I got you. No worries. All right. Globy, I got you. And then if one more person wants to drop to let Old Greg in, that would be awesome.
So you want to kick me, Trebling? I'll just hang out in the back.
Do you remember what Old Greg was? I'm trying to keep an even panel.
I'm trying to remember myself, and I can't either, so...
It's all good. If you're willing to drop, I appreciate it, Curvature.
Yep, just let me sit in the background.
You got it. No, you got to get the hell out. The whole show. You're kicked. It's all good. All right. Globy McGlobeface sounds like a flat earther. That is freaking hilarious. Globy, welcome to the show. Thanks for being patient.
No problem, man. Thanks. It would be a great flat earther name. I won't lie. Maybe I'll switch sides one day.
Maybe.
So Jay, just so you know, I did get that second observation. I did it 2 weeks ago. I didn't get it on my live because clouds did roll in, but I got it on Ted Craig's live about 20 minutes before I went live. So I got his observation before the clouds came in. and then we got the South African observation on my live. So I did get it. I just didn't get it on my live. But that was the second time we did it. The first time, nailed it on the first try.
So could we add a level of control to these experiments? Like, could you guys do GPS?
Yeah, in the second observation, I had both guys show us their GPS locations. And they picked up the compasses and flipped them around to show underneath to make sure no one's messing with the compasses. I haven't actually posted that video yet. I should put that together.
Okay, so I'm just watching like Kyle in the same place that Ted Craig is get different results. So
Kyle's usually looking at the sun, if I remember him correctly.
Okay.
So that's
I'm
Kyle's doing his own thing.
different
He's all
results
confused
as
about
Ted.
where the sun is in the sky. I see him online doing that.
Okay.
But we're looking at the Southern Cross, which is stars, right?
Yeah, but Ted looks at the sun in most of his lives, right?
Oh well, yeah. Ted does it different. I haven't been on
mentioned
Ted's
Ted, and
lives
that's
with the
what I
sun.
was talking about. The comparison of like the two people in that zone, like, are getting different results. So,
Well, I don't know. I don't know what that is about. I didn't go live with that. I did the Southern Stars with Ted.
Okay.
And since you apparently don't know, Ted Craig showed the Southern Cross, south-southwest from where he is in Australia, and at the same time in South Africa, Clint showed the Southern Cross, also south-southwest.
So I know why you can't like why you wouldn't see Sigma like any like further up. It's not because of globe. Yeah, it's because it's actually like almost half the brightness of Polaris.
Well, I'm not talking about Sigma Octantis, but yes, it is dim. I was talking about the Southern Cross. The Southern Cross
No,
is a
I know.
constellation.
That was just another point, like having to do with that. That like it's explainable. It's definitely explainable.
Well, it's just hard to see, but if you time lapse the Southern Stars, it's in the center of the rotation.
So, is there a southern pole star?
Yeah, Sigma
Or
Octantis
you can't
is the
really see
closest.
that with your naked eye, though, right?
There's not one bright enough that you can see consistently with your eye.
So
No.
technically, you could say no. There's not a southern pole star. Would there not have to be on your globe model with the two axes?
No, that's a straw man. Just because it's dim doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Okay, but that's a strong man also to say that it exists, even though
Straw.
you can't really see it.
You can see it. Just because I can't see it with my eyeball all the time doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You have telescopes, you have cameras that you can zoom in on it and see. It's clearly there's a star there.
Okay.
Just saying a dim star is dim, so therefore it doesn't exist is kind of silly.
Okay.
And it's straw man, Jay, by the way, not strong man.
Straw man. So when I think of straw man, I think of like the cowardly lion, right? Like, and you have no integrity. So like, I just don't like to use it that way.
Okay. I think the scarecrow had the straw in him, though. Be technical.
Oh yeah, no integrity. Yeah, the straw man. Yeah. He needs some integrity farms. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the South Pole star. It's the closest star that we can see. That's closest to the South Pole, Southern Celestial Pole.
The scarecrow. Okay.
So,
yeah,
Globy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to understand. Like, so during this experiment, like, so Sigma Octantis is moving. Am I not correct?
No. I mean, it does make small circles. Yeah, it moves in a very small circle.
No, I mean, like, so it's moving into the other person's perspective, or is it at the same time?
It's at the same time. Same exact time.
I'll have to see this.
And as you know, on flat Earth, that would be like looking that way and that way. South is to the outside.
So is that not just a perspective issue, or maybe the fact that like maybe we don't have it full? Like, how does it judge the actual shape of the ground?
Well,
is it just to say that like your directions are not correct, or is it to say that like how are you proving the shape of the ground with that experiment?
Because what we observe in reality fits on a spherical model. There's 2 points of celestial rotation. It doesn't like prove it like, oh, here's 100% proof we live on a ball, but it does fit the globe model perfectly.
It validates the bias. Yes, I understand.
Doesn't
But
validate the bias. It's what we observe. You're supposed to be looking at what we observe and then
all
coming to a
cultures,
conclusion.
hold on. So all cultures, right, have studied the stars, fully mapped the stars. Did you know there's only like 960 or 9,069 stars we can actually see? Like I guess if you have a telescope the size of a building, but we don't have a telescope the size of a building, but like for that I can use. But but like what I'm saying. Okay.
That's something Trey
like
says.
Okay, we'll look it up.
Okay, what should I look up? How many stars are in the sky?
Yeah, look that up real quick. So unless you have like a specialized telescope that's in like a massive building, you're not going to see any more. I don't know. You're not going to see much more than that.
So have we done because I'll be honest, I haven't been on TikTok a whole lot. Have we been able to do the observation with 3 observers, or are we still at 2?
We're still at 2, but I don't think it's ever going to happen with 3 because it's not nighttime in all 3 locations at the same time.
That's fair.
I've been
looking.
The past host,
Charlie Brown, he said that it has been done with 3, and then it was
9,069 Glovey, right? Is that about what they say? It's to 4,000 sometimes.
I tried to do it with 3.
Tried to do it with 3. Okay.
Which we did. Well, we did with him. Actually, I tried to do it with Russ because he was on a ship just off the coast of Brazil. So he wasn't on the land, but he was off the coast of Brazil. That might be the only chance because he might catch darkness in all 3 locations then. But still, you don't need 3. You can't explain 2.
But it would bring more accuracy.
Well, you can explain 2 by perspective, actually.
How? I'm looking this way and looking that way. It's not
okay. So you really have to narrow down
light.
That directional. You really have to narrow down that directional and do what? Create a triangle, right? Create a.
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Well, instead of saying triangle, how about pyramid?
Yeah. Sure. Yep.
Everyone here understands, including globe believers or flat earth believers, that on a flat map, we look north, which is towards the center, and see Polaris. We're all looking north, right? North is the same direction. We all understand that. Works perfectly. The same thing happens in the south. Everyone looks south and sees the same star, Sigma Octantis. But suddenly you have to start... Stop. Yes, it is. Suddenly you have to start invoking magical bendy light to answer why everyone looks south, which is opposite directions, and sees the same star. And stars in general. It makes no sense the leaps and bounds you have to jump through to get this to work. And it still doesn't work when you do it.
But the light is proven to bend. Sorry.
I was going to say, I had a question for the south-southwest observation, because the thing that, and this is a question that honestly I just thought of during the live, is the Earth is a sphere and we have the 2 poles, obviously the South Pole is south directly and the North Pole is north directly. So if that is the case, then why is it, and I'm sure that there's a good explanation for it, why is it that the southern pole star is seen southwest?
It wasn't a pole star, it was a southern cross. Pole star is always south. It's always south.
Okay, so you're talking about the constellation around the pole star.
Yeah, the southern cross is a constellation around the pole star. People confuse them all the time. I don't know why. Sigma Octantis is a star. It's in a part of the constellation Octans. It's the closest star to the south celestial pole. It's off by like 1.5 degrees or something like that from the dead center. Polaris is also off. Polaris is off about 0.5 degree. It's not perfectly centered either. But that's not what we observed because it is dim. It's hard to see, especially with a cell phone camera over TikTok. So we chose the Southern Cross because it's very bright. It's very obvious. Everyone knows what the Southern Cross looks like because it looks like a cross. Sailors have been using it for years and years and years to navigate, so it's very obvious in the sky. So that's why we use that. But that is not perfectly centered. That's off center. That circles around the pole. So,
Ghost of Modern Warfare, you had something you wanted to throw in? Oh, Greg, if not, you've been pretty quiet, my friend. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being patient.
Yeah. I'm listening in, just seeing what's going on, so I can yeah.
Greg's awesome.
I apologize. I'm replying to somebody on my YouTube.
Nope, yeah. Take
Yeah,
your
I
time.
just got a message too while I was in this. Yeah.
I want to address this because you brought this up, Tribune.
And see, this is why I like hopping in, and I take notes too, and it's something to look into when it comes to questioning things. So
Thank you for bringing this up, Globy. This is actually exactly what I wanted to talk about.
This is why I actually joined, because I heard you mention it. I wanted to talk about this.
Globy's definitely a cool dude. Then Josh.
Hey, what up, Craig?
What's up, bro?
Josh or Jay Josh, whichever name we're calling him today.
Jay.
So this is something Witsit brought up in the debate, and I didn't have a chance to rebut on the live, but I heard you just bring this up. This literally couldn't be more of a straw man argument, because it's a 2D map with flat lines put on it, right? You have no angle of inclination here to these lines. This is assuming this person's looking against the water and this person's looking against the water, right? When in reality, this person's looking, you'd have to take this line and angle it up. So you're still looking south-southwest, but you're looking high up into the sky. And this one is also not this low in the sky. This is not looking south-southwest. I mean, it is on here, but it's not. In reality, it would have been south-southeast at that time. So he assumed it was south-southwest just to throw this on here and confuse everybody. But if you take these and it's impossible to do, but
No, I see what you're saying. You're saying if you flip that, yeah, it's going to be everyone's looking in opposite directions.
Yeah, if I'm in Australia looking south-southwest, which is this direction, but you're looking up, right? And then there's no way I can fucking do this with two hands.
No. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm gonna put the phone down here. Don't mind my socks. All right, Australia and South Africa. Okay, so if I'm south-southwest from both locations, but I'm looking up, not flat against the ground like he put those arrows, but I'm looking up, they absolutely will intersect. But he put them flat against a flat map like this and went, oh, look how stupid that is. There's no way that could work. Yeah, no shit. But you're looking up in the sky.
Wait, there's no way a plane flies that high with what you're showing. Is that what you're saying?
No. So what he's saying is no. So here's the thing. So then that's when kind of it gets into Globy. That's when kind of it gets into the whole perspective thing, to where and I'm not saying this is true. It's just something that others have that do claim. Obviously, I'm not going to claim it because I there's no way that I can say that that's proof. But when you have, if you would call it a firmament, and then you have a bending of light, then you would have a certain perspective to where it would be flipped, and you would kind of get that perspective to where everyone can see that, right? And I'm not saying that it is correct, but and if you can understand what I'm saying, at least to my standpoint, where at least with the way I'm trying to explain it, that has been the claim.
I really didn't understand what you even were saying, to be honest.
So it's kind of one of those things where
it's hard to explain because you have
no. Yeah. It's hard to explain, but it's easier to see. It's one of those things to where so if you put a piece of paper around or behind a glass of water, and you put two arrows
Right. You could flip the arrow. Yeah.
Yes.
So-
So it's kind of like that. At least that's like the only basic way. So that's the only. I guess that's like the only argument that some flat earthers like have.
I don't even argue the fact that things flip, like the moon, right? Yeah, you could look at the moon from two different angles and it would, it'll flip, right? Because you're on two different sides of it. So I'm not even argue that point. Same thing with the stars. The problem with the stars is not that though, right? And people like to invoke this model, right? So this is literally the best explanation for it because this is all weird.
What program is that, by the way?
This is called Walter Bislin. Well, if you search Walter Bislin Dome, it'll come right up. Okay, he made this. He's not a flat earther. He made this to show how ridiculous it is, and this is why. Because this is the South Pole star. That would be the South Pole star. That would be the center of rotation of the stars. Okay, looking south towards the camera, these stars would rotate. At the exact same time, that's happening on another part of the planet with the same stars over here. Everywhere you are, but I was in Australia. We were in Australia doing this. Okay, so at the exact same time in Australia, looking south, the same stars are doing the same spirals. That's absolutely asinine when the answer, the easy answer is that it works just like the North Pole. Everyone's looking in the same way. Right? Everyone's looking north towards Polaris here. That's why you see Polaris. Same thing in the south, dude. It's because we live on a globe. Or you're saying, which they try to say, is that the light from this star over here is traveling all the way around to here and then bending around so that this person looking that way can see that star here too.
Yeah, but you're also, placing
have
the
you mapped
stars.
the globe yourself?
Yeah, I've circumnavigated and charted the Earth.
Okay, well then you can't say for sure. You can't say for sure.
I can say that this is nonsense and there's nothing on Earth that bends light this way. Plus the complicatedness that this would have to be.
Except for relativity.
Okay, so think about it, dude. At the same time, someone standing here would see the same thing.
I'm not saying that the light bends all the way there. I'm just saying that there's a confusion in the model.
Imagine every place you're standing, you happen to look south and see the same stars circling at the same time from different places.
Hey, real quick, this is
challenging us to figure it out, though. I promise you that.
Yeah, it's called a globe. Very simple.
No.
So real quick.
So it can be anything but the globe,
how does
right?
that prove the ground? How does that prove the ground and not backwards engineering from the sky? Because every ancient civilization on this planet has mapped the sky, right? They all thought it was flat. Well, that's a fallacy. Sorry, but it could be backwards engineered to the fact of you thinking that, right? That it lines up.
It's not backwards engineering. We take an observation.
How does it prove the ground? That's what I would like to know.
Because I just showed you. We just took an observation. We took an observation. It's one piece of the puzzle. It's not the whole.
Okay.
It's not the whole puzzle, but this one observation tells us that the shape of the thing we're standing on.
Up from what they gave you.
Yeah, the real life observations match the model.
Okay,
they match a globe. They match a sphere.
Would they want you making common observations and being able to debunk it just like that?
I don't know what that has to do with anything.
I'm saying so if there is
I did this a long time ago. Check this out.
If there is a whole conspiracy that they are trying to keep this knowledge of the Earth from you, they're not going to want you to just look up and be able to say no.
Okay, so what?
Okay, so there you go. There's your explanation. Until it's proven differently.
Oh my God. TikTok. So I remember doing this a long time ago. I pulled all these wires southwest from those locations just to prove that line of sight would work. Just to kind of give a 3D model of what it would be.
Is that accurate distance though? That's the thing. I don't know. I know Tribune.
It's not the scale.
Tribune wanted to say something. I'm not trying to cut you off, Bobby. It's just we're all trying to talk here.
No, you're fine. I've forgotten what my other point was because I just thought of what you were just saying. I would actually agree with Globy on what you were just saying, old Greg. It's that the actual exact distance doesn't matter as much as the assumption of the angle that the light's coming in. So, I mean, if you assume that it's basically coming from a vastly far distance as opposed to somewhere relatively local, then that's basically what he's modeling out. I don't think that observation gets, or at least the way he's doing it, I don't think that him making that string longer is going to affect anything. It's only going to affect it if he makes it like really, really short. So
Right, when you make it too short, the angles don't work. You start to hit the globe.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's just it's helping me learn. So,
but
So I have a question along.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question along the same lines of viewing the stars in different parts. Different areas that would only seem to add up as it not matching the flat Earth models that I've seen. I think there's a lot of things that I don't believe about what they're telling us about, the idea of space that we have. But if there were 24 hours of sunlight in Antarctica, that would kind of disprove most of the flat Earth models that I've seen, or what's the explanation for that?
Sunlight, not necessarily the sun itself. That would definitely be hard to explain.
So I can actually hit this real quick. If you guys don't mind me with it. All right, so you're getting at so I've had this problem as well. Not really a problem, but there's two ways to look at it on both models. So if the sun rotates on a flat Earth model, and if you're looking at Antarctica as a ice wall or whatever have you, if the sun rotates, it's going to hit that ice wall 24/7, as in that ice wall is, if it is connected, right? If it's like at an edge of a disk, it's going to see some sort of sunlight 24/7. So it kind of goes like both ways.
It can't though. Like
if you're
here,
it'd be going around.
Yeah. So
then
if you're here, it'd be going around like this.
Yeah, no, right, Globy, I'm saying
but it's not. It's going around like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Globy.
Right. But if you're standing here and you're watching the sun circle around you, literally seeing the sun the whole time, the whole day, that doesn't work because the sun's going like this.
Right, I would have to cut through the Arctic or not go to Australia or something, so that it doesn't add up on the flat Earth models that I've seen, and that's something that I'd like to observe. But the trips to go down to Antarctica are not cheap. If you actually want to go to Antarctica.
Yeah, and it'd probably be a giant waste of money because we can just figure this out right here. Well, not right here, but over time.
So two things.
Well,
First off, 1 second. First off, 10-minute warning. I really do like to cut these things at 12, but since we had some good guests jump on at the last minute, I wanted to extend it just a little bit, but I do have to get up early. So 10-minute warning. Make sure you keep your points concise. Don't monologue. Appreciate everybody tuning in. And I do have one last guest I wanted to bring in as well. He is a flat earther, though. So what do we got? GI, you're a globe earther?
I'm undecided. I have questions.
I'll hop off.
Okay, Greg. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. I'll be in the comments. Thanks for having me.
I just want to make sure that I always try to keep these things even. That way we can keep the conversation dynamic.
Yep, super cool.
Yeah, I mean, so I've seen that video that you're showing, Globy. I've seen other ones like it, and the thing would be, I mean, it's easy to say, oh, it's fake. Okay, but there are independent filmmakers that have gone down and shared their experience, and if it was something that was just produced by people trying to prove a globe, I'd question their motives. But then there's these people that share their personal account of 24-hour sunlight. on their trips to Antarctica studying whatever marine biology or whatever they're doing. I don't know what their motive to lie would be. And so then
this guy's an astrophotographer. This is Robert Schwartz. He spent like 16 summers in Antarctica. He got all sorts of crazy videos, great stuff. I guess he'd have to be a government plant, right? But he
And
took
all
he
I
took
gotta
southern
say is
star
that
rotation videos.
yeah, all I gotta say is that like maybe 8 years ago, before they started like hiding and censoring everything about Antarctica and everything to do with the flat Earth and the round Earth, because it was censored in Congress of the United States of America. We know all of that. Everybody's seen that video. So I've seen them trying to fake videos of the sun going around flags, where they would cut it every day at around like 5 o'clock or something like that in the afternoon every single day, to show the supposed, with the video titled the sun revolving around Antarctica, the 24-hour sun around Antarctica. So I know that this has been doctored. They had a video
No,
before this
Max.
where the sun would be going into the mountain and it disappeared, and it was so weird, and the clouds shifted and stuff like that. So I've seen
No, Max.
evidence of fakery. So this is my
So
rebuttal to that. And I'm
I've
pretty
seen
sure that
people
they
that
can
have
fake
faked it,
anything
but then I've
nowadays.
also seen ones that I couldn't clearly say are fake, and then I've read accounts from people that aren't even in a flat Earth discussion, and they're just talking about it, which makes me, because if it's ever in a flat Earth, globe Earth debate, one person is trying to argue their point. But when there's this personal account of someone just sharing an experience without any kind of motive, I tend to trust that a little bit more, I guess.
All right.
So they weren't trying to
So
stake a position on whether or not it's flat or
yeah,
globe.
I have some kind of crazy evidence that is off the subject right now, and it's very important. I don't know if we can change it. It's about maybe 5 minutes. I'm gonna try to make it as quick and concise as possible. Globy, I had a chat with you a long time ago, talking about the windows of the airplanes. You said that many times, and other Globies also have said that the windows in the airplanes will not distort anything that you're seeing through it, right?
No,
Would you
nobody ever
agree to
said.
this?
No, nobody ever said that completely. The very
Nobody
edges
ever
of
said that.
the very
Uh-oh.
edges of the windows can sometimes curve things, but not the entire window in general.
Okay, perfect. So this is actually something that you're sticking on to. So
Yeah, I can show you
I
Wolfie
have an icon.
6020 on YouTube showing his own cockpit window and showing you how it's keeping how the horizontal lines are horizontal
Yeah.
from the pilot's
So
cockpit.
I have a Nikon P900, and let's say you pick just a random star in the sky and you zoom into it from the ground floor at like 6 feet observer side. I'm gonna be speaking averagely a little bit because it's you don't need to be precise on this, because it makes no sense to be, if the Nikon P900 cannot zoom in and see the surface of a star, you're just still seeing a star. But let's say I took like about 3 videos or 4 videos, or how much you ever want to, from stars from 6 feet observer's height, and I can see the stars being around 1 centimeter thick when I transfer over the video on my computer, and I can play the video and I can like kind of measure it on my TV. I can see that star is about 2 centimeters big. So I've had footage in my computer for 5 years already that I've never realized one thing that I shot on an airplane going to Bogota. Okay, all my videos of the stars, and maybe if you have a Nikon P900, you can test this yourself. When you're zooming in on a star in a full zoom, on a maximum zoom, if it's the brightest star that you pick in the skies, it doesn't matter which one it is, it's gonna be like about 1 centimeter to 2 centimeters big on the screen. Okay, any star that you pick in the skies that is brightest, you will just zoom in, go on maximum zoom, make sure you're manually focusing it correctly, and you will see a star that's about 2 centimeters to 3 centimeters big. So when I took this this camera on the airplane that is only 30,000 feet high in average, like 30 to 35,000 feet. It doesn't really matter because it's an average. Because the closest star we have is this number right here in miles. This number right here. 25 trillion? I don't know even how to say that. I said it today, 24,984 billion miles away from us. I don't know how to say this number. Anyways, so 30 to 35,000 feet is about 5 miles. It's nothing. So the difference between the one from 6 feet observer height and 30,000 feet observer height to this number is 0.000002% or something like that.
The difference
From
in
this
what?
number to this number.
Star size?
No, between in relationship to you standing on Earth to that
Okay,
star.
yes, I would agree.
And the point in between being 30,000 feet or 5 miles up.
Yeah, your
Okay.
height's
So I
insignificant. Your
took
height change.
yeah. So I took 3 pictures, videos of stars being like from the Earth's surface. Okay, so you can see here. I'm gonna show you an evidence of how a Nikon P900 is on focus, which a lot of flat earthers have been doing like a lot of wrong shit with this, and even people that are not flat earthers. But when you're not manually focusing correctly, it will show up like this, like a very weird this right here, like this.
Yep.
This is when the Nikon P900 is not correctly focused. Okay. This is just an example so that I can show the rest of the videos that I have. Okay, so here I'm gonna shoot a star that is from the ground to the star. Okay.
Just for the record, our Earth is bigger. You're a total liar, man.
Yeah.
It's been longer than 5 minutes. Try to wrap it up, okay?
I'm so sorry, bro. I'm
No,
so
it's a
sorry,
good
bro.
experiment.
Okay,
You'll
okay.
like it.
I just had to explain the parameters, man. I'm already showing the images. So right here.
We're just trying to cover the bases so they don't say.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure.
Okay, so this is a AA battery, right?
Oh,
I can almost no. Let me put it with a screw cap. Let me see if this works. No, not this one. Okay, let's do it like this. Okay, it's a little bit bigger than what I said. Right? I can cover it. Okay, so trying to cover, the size of it. This is the first star from the floor. Let me try to make it quicker. This is the second star from the floor. Okay, this is a little bit out of focus because you're gonna see the little. You don't see it on the cell phone as I can see, but it's about the same size. When it gets really out of focus is when it starts like increasing in size. This was one that was a little bit farther, so it's a little bit smaller, but let's take this for comparison. Doesn't matter. Okay? So when I was on an airplane and I took a couple of footage from stars, and I know that this could be way out of focus. This is the first one that I saw, and I fully max zoom in once again.
While you're moving in a plane?
While I'm moving, yes. I'm moving also when I'm on Earth. If you see the other videos, I'm moving also. Like it's moving like this. I know I'm moving still at 500 miles per hour.
Miles per hour? Okay, just making sure.
No, moving
I shot, bro. I shot it. I zoomed in on a city in Bogota and it worked perfectly. You want me to show that to you, bro?
I don't know, dude. You're talking about moving photos.
Okay. Anyways.
So there's no proof that what you're looking at
even...
is. All right, I get what you're saying. So this is the window distorting it. You're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. You said that windows don't distort anything except for the edges. Okay, so this star is what? At a fully max zoom, how many of these things can fit in here?
This is what we're
and the other crazy thing is that I shot this, and I understand this with convergence point and how perspective work. I shot this across, so I'm just shooting across. There's another video where I'm shooting like inclined like this, but I'm shooting right now across, which I'm seeing the star like literally on my left. And I understand convergence point and all that, but this is the star that I shot with an Nikon P900.
Okay. I'm not sure what
from an
that proves. I
airplane.
mean, that could be anything. Your exposure settings could be wrong.
You're
It could
not
be
understanding, bro.
you've
You're
blown
not
out the
No,
understanding,
the
bro.
picture.
ISO is good. The ISO is good. That's what he
How
just
do you know the
explained to you.
ISO is good? How do you
Because
know
that's
what's
what he
good
Because
just
or
it's
not?
not
explained.
lighting up the whole face, bro. And I
Okay.
had a, I had bro, I
I don't know
had
what
this
that proves,
debate
but all right.
with I had this debate with average. The ISO doesn't increase the size of an object, bro.
Yeah, it certainly will.
Overexposure will
It's
overexpose
overexposed.
the light. Hold on one second, bro. Overexposure will overexpose the whole video, but
The whole
not make
picture.
the object bigger.
Yep.
What? It'll
Okay.
overexpose the light source.
Oh my God, no,
That's
bro.
what
No.
exposure does.
Okay, so look. The ISO is gonna be set, and you can still see the window being not lighted up in crazy in colors. It's just a normal color. It's not like video trickery or some shit like that. Okay, so what I'm saying is that for me to be able to zoom in on any star from Earth and seeing something that is as small as like a centimeter or 2 centimeters, and then zooming in on an object at 30,000 feet at full zoom, the same thing as I did on Earth, and I get something like this, but still a star is supposedly
Max,
this
do it
far
again.
away.
Do it again and get a clear picture of the star the second time, where it's like actually a
Yeah, wait.
circle like the other
Well, I
one.
have 4 different stars, bro. I know
Can
that this
you?
could be out of focus because it's very difficult for you to
Okay.
focus. I understand that.
Well, okay, then what are
But
we trying
this
to
one,
prove with an out of focus picture? It's just
this is not
nonsense.
out of
I gotta
focus,
go to
bro.
bed
This
if
is
this
what
is
I'm
what we're
saying, my
doing.
friend. This
Oh
is
my
not out of
God.
focus.
Okay, sure.
This is
thing.
not out of focus.
So people are supposed to humor your experiment?
This is not out of
My
focus, bro.
experiment was an experiment. He's showing us an out of focus picture.
This is an
Like,
experiment. What are
we?
you talking about?
It's not an experiment, Jay. Sorry.
Oh wow. Okay. So where's the extra light coming from? The ISO. That's your claim
Yeah,
on
an
auto
experiment
ISO?
would be let's recreate this picture and get like an actual picture of a circular star and see what
Yeah,
size
this
it is.
is
What if it's not
this is
circular?
something.
What if
If
the
it's
star
true,
was a square?
you know,
Well, then I'm fucking
look at that.
baffled, but I gotta go to bed. I can't even handle a square
Look at
star.
this shit.
Look, it's a triangle star. It looks like a UFO.
Look at this shit,
Nobody
bro.
sees stars like that, Max.
He caught a
Even from a
UFO.
plane.
Excuse me.
Even from a
Do
plane.
you have
Nobody.
do you have proof of this?
What?
Do you have proof of this to counter my claim?
Yeah, I could
Okay,
Google,
so shut up, bro.
endlessly Google pictures
That's
of
it.
stars from planes, and
No,
none of them
there's
are
nobody
triangles.
there's nobody having a P900 or anything or a telescope on an airplane doing this shit, bro.
You're
Okay,
the
so
only
if you
one
do
with a
have
Flurf
something
900,
against it,
bro?
if you have
Come on.
something against it, just show it. Don't just speak about it like saying like out of your like whatever you're behind or whatever.
Are you
Just
saying
prove
stars
it,
are
show it.
triangles from space, Max? Is that what you're saying?
Bro,
From the
I
airplane?
recorded what I recorded, okay?
Are you
That's what I
saying
recorded,
stars
bro.
are triangles from a plane?
Bro, I don't fucking know. Look, you want to see the video again?
Well, you do know. You're making a claim.
It's
Is that your
look,
claim?
listen, bro, look. My camera is moving on the window glass right now. So if there's a scratch or anything that's busy,
Okay.
This configuring the shape of the spherical star that you think it is, it should be wobbling all around, but it doesn't. It stays the same shape, bro. You don't understand that shit? Look, the star stays the same shape. It's not
Toby, the only
wobbling
picture I
or
can
this.
find is one that looks like what he took a
Bro, you
picture
don't
of.
understand this shit, my friend. It's not changing inside. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Well,
Try
you
to
heard
go
it
ahead.
All
here
right,
first.
let's wrap it up, guys.
I'm done.
Heard it here first. Breaking
All right.
news on Tribune's Live, triangle stars.
Man, that'd be groundbreaking. Yeah, let's go ahead and let everybody get their last minute, make your closing statements, and I'm going to get the heck on out of here. So thanks for coming on. Ghost, you can start.
Yeah, I'll make it short. So the Earth is maybe not what you think it is. Just do research. Don't take my opinion, please. Just go and search.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about it. That's it. No.
Cool. Do research.
I
I
just
agree.
would rather
You're going to
people
come to
do the research.
So I would say when you do your research, don't discount the globe just because you don't want to believe it.
Why do you have to discount the research? The fact that I'm saying for these people to go do research and
I
saying
didn't
not
discount
to
it.
take
I
my
said
opinion.
when you do
But you
research.
are, though.
Why are we going to
No.
bicker during the closing statements? Come on.
Well,
Yeah,
he's interrupting. He's interrupting my closing
He is.
statements,
How they do
Judge.
the research.
No,
Those
do the
statement.
research. Just don't discount the globe as a possibility when you're looking at the research.
But are you afraid that they're gonna do the research and they're gonna find a different theory
Jay,
than
are
you
you
believe?
deaf?
'Cause that's
Jay,
how
let me
it
make it
sounds.
clear. Jay, let me make
Bro,
it
this
clear.
guy's trying to
Do
pull
the
his lie, my
research.
friend.
All right,
Hey,
enough.
so
Okay,
the
do
Earth
the
is
research,
flat.
guys. That's all you
Convergence
gotta
point
Jesus.
do.
is real.
Ghost,
The Earth is
All right,
flat.
good
chill out
night.
for a
You
Convergence.
almost
second.
been great, brother.
You're so defensive, but I'm agreeing with you. Do the research. Just
Bro,
don't
he's doing a
discount the
closing
globe.
statement, bro. Come on, guys.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so the Earth is flat. Convergence point proves the sun falling to the horizon. There is
No, it doesn't.
atmosphere in our environment, and it
Liar.
will magnify a sun in order for you to think that it's stupidly setting, that it's just going to the distance. But that's it's the Earth's flat, guys.
It sets from
Good
convergence, but
night.
also gets bigger at the same time. Got
Good
it.
night.
All right.
Good night, baby.
Good night, our Earth is bigger. Thanks for coming on.
Take care.
Good night.
Thanks,
What
thanks
you
for
and Gobi
wasting the
talk
last 15
first.
minutes, Max. I could have been sleeping. All right, thanks.
Thanks for coming on, Globy. Appreciate everybody coming on, keeping the debate as civil as we could. There was significantly less interruptions and name calling this time, so I consider it a win. It's all about having the conversation, so we definitely appreciate everybody who participated, regardless of what side of the aisle that you are on. As far as my closing statements go, I will just say that there was some interesting stuff presented. I think that I actually do kind of agree with Globy's point on the angle that you're seeing it. If you're looking at it flat versus globe, that does need to be taken into account. However, I will follow up by saying that regardless of what's going on in the sky, I do not believe that that does prove the shape of the floor that we are on. For whatever reason that may be unknown to us, the sky could just be doing what it does, could just be existing as it does and not have any bearing on the shape of our Earth. So that's where we'll go ahead and leave it tonight. I appreciate everybody in the comments as well. Everybody over on YouTube and Rockfin. For those who don't know, we do stream the entire thing live on YouTube and Rockfin, so you can go and check it out, catch the whole show if you're just jumping in. I apologize, you're getting here late. We're about to shut it on down. If you didn't get in, I did see you guys in the guest box, but it's just at a certain time I stopped taking them. So typically like these things to go 2 hours. We start them usually at 11, but I did it at 10 this time. So whatever, it is what it is. You guys get the notification. Be here or be sphere. All right. So let's go ahead and shut her down here. Folks on TikTok, I will see you next time. Folks on YouTube, Brockfin, do not go anywhere. I will be with you in just a Let us get our sound back. Perfect. Back over here to the Cool Kids Club where it was just us and our dedicated fans. I'm just kidding. Everybody's really cool. We do appreciate, again, all y'all turning out. Let's see who has stayed through to the end. Jeremy Bird. Damn, I forgot to hit private on the coffee, bro. I hope my number doesn't show. Oh, no. No, it won't. You're good, man. It's not going to show. Setneg, you are late. I'll go ahead and start it over, my friend. Donald Pieskick, thanks for coming. Mitch, I am going to take a look at that before I go to bed, and I will get back to you here soon, man. I appreciate it. I know you're really excited about that evidence, but I'll definitely take a look, but I just don't think it's going to prove what you think it does. Much like, the Globies looking at the sky all the time, thinking that proves the shape of the Earth, when at least Globy McGlobeface is honest when he says that it's not a definitive proof. It's just, it does beg the question. It's concurrence of the model. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not something that you can it's not something that you can form first principles off of. You do have to start with assumptions there. So, again, Ruhif, appreciate you tuning in, man. We're going to be doing open panel next week. That's going to be something for you folks on YouTube, Rockfin. You can go ahead and jump in. We have the Zoom access ready to go, and we'll also have people from the Discord coming on, so it should be a lot of fun. So be sure to check that out. Let's see here. Who else do we have to shout out? We also have Mad Mac. Let's not forget that when we measure how far away the planets and moons and stars are,
that they assume we're on a ball when they triangulate the measurements. That is 100% correct. And they never got to the point of how they developed the triangle, on the curved surface. Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. All right. Jeremy Bird, appreciate you, my friend. Mark Basquet, Ace. Who else? Beautiful souls here. We are joined by Brian Stavely. Awesome, man. If there was an ice wall, it would be in an area I think we can all agree would be tough to access, personally. The curve should be everywhere, like outside your house, and we don't see it. That's absolutely true. We do not see it. All right. Folks, if I haven't shouted you out, I apologize. It's getting late, so we're going to go ahead and shut it down. FE Nation, just saw you. Still scrolling. All right. Mama needs a dab, of course. Let's go ahead and close out with some music to wear finger gloves to by Punch Deck. I do love me some good EDM, some good drum and bass. Let's go ahead and play it out, folks. I appreciate you coming. The Tribune show is going to be on Monday, all right, this time. Normally we do it on Sunday, but we are going to be, everything got postponed today, so we are going to be Monday with the Tribune show, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. Definitely join up. For those who don't know, well, you guys all know I'm not on TikTok anymore, so you know what to expect. Go and check it out. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace.